Everybody doing today? Come on in. Welcome. This is going to be a fun live stream. We're going to be making a retro game, but the cool thing is we're going to be using all free assets. We're going to do no modeling. There's an asterisk there. We are going to use Pro Builder just a little bit. Do we even call Pro Builder modeling? I don't think so. I think Pro Builder is a gray boxing tool, but we can use it in its most rudimentary form to create some really cool effects that we're going to need for this. So look, if you're new to game dev and you're new to Unity, or if you're experienced and you make everything by hand, but you want to learn, maybe I can make something that looks custom. Maybe I can make something that looks handmade with free assets and do it quick. So I swear, I have never done something like this before, like a retro Hyrule Field kind of vibe. I've never done that. So this is like no training wheels here. Doing it live, and we're just going to see how it goes, guys. My suspicion is I'm 99.9% sure that this is going to look incredible by the end of today's live stream. So all you beautiful people, come on in. Welcome. Let me see if I can get this chat box up and running here. For some reason, it just doesn't show up. It should show up right here. There we go. Go. There it is. Okay. Hey, I wanted to let you guys know that if you want to learn how to fund your games, like if you're interested in like, okay, how can I take a demo, like a small little demo, and find funding for it, whether it's crowdfunding, whether it's working with publishers or investors, or hey, maybe you just want to get learn how to pitch a project. There is a link. There is not a link. No, there is a link. There's a link below that will show you how to do that. It's a pretty cool webinar. Let's see here. Let me pull it up for you guys. It has a really gimmicky thumbnail, but this is actually true for me. Okay. I was able to turn a demo into $100,000, which was really, really cool. I've done this multiple times. And so I just want to show you how to do it. Is it easy? No. Is it for everybody? No. But hey, as the new year approaches, feel free to just watch it and see if it's something you're interested in and see if it's something you want to learn how to do. Totally free, no gimmicks. Click the link below to check it out. All right, guys, you ready to jump inside of Unity and get started here? I'm going to go through, honestly, the process that I go through all the freaking time. We start with just a skybox. And it's I guess you'd call it the Bob Ross method. Now, for me, I like to come up with my swatches of color after I do my skybox. I don't know why. Bob Ross, what he'll do is he'll pick his swatches of color, and then he'll start with the sky, and then he'll move his way forward and get more and more granular. Okay, with any game where you're using assets, all I do is I just lay it out in its most basic form here. It looks like crap, but I've got all my prefabs made. And then what I do is I go in and I add my skybox, I pick my colors, I assign I recolor all of the assets to match that color palette. I start retexturing, I start lighting, I add effects, I add fog, I add shadows, I put a character controller in the scene, and boom, it looks beautiful. So we're going to go through all of that today, okay? All right, guys, come on in. And I'm not going to be rushy here. I'm going to be super chill. We're going to have a good time. Let me know if it sounds, how's the sound? Is the sound good, guys? Good morning. We're not going to do third person today. Full absolute disclosure. When I do these live streams, I've been doing these recently, where I flip assets. This is inside of a system that I've created along with my team from the last 3 years, and we call it the Atmos engine. And all it is a first-person character controller with really good feet sound effects and jump sounds and the ability to do ambient sound and triggers. But for you guys, if you want to do something like this, honestly, all you got to do is download a character controller that's free from the Unity asset store and do exactly what I've done here. Grab a bunch of free assets, put them into the scene, make prefabs out of them, and then start recoloring and retexturing, okay? All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is fix a freaking bug with Unity. I have to change it to light mode. And then I have to change it back to dark mode in order to navigate the scene. I'm not kidding. this is the world that we live in with Unity. And this is a bug that came up not with a new version of Steam. I'm in 2022. This is something that came about randomly last week. So I don't know. All right, guys, ready for first thing here? Skybox. Okay. We're making something similar to like Ocarina of Time. I really wanted to have that old school N64 vibe. And so that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm just going to type in Google, I'm going to type in blue sky. Okay. Here we go. And I'm going to type in blue skybox. Now, everything we're using here is completely illegal. Okay? It's completely illegal. The reason I'm doing it this way is to do it quick and just free and show you can find assets. Now, you need to make sure you're looking for the exact right legal assets. For me, we're just going to be using Google, okay? Just for the purposes of today and this video. Super quick, super fast. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to look for some super hyper stylized or hyper unique skybox. We're not creating Wind Waker. We're not creating Breath of the Wild. We're creating an old school game. In old school games, they used old school, boring looking skyboxes, if I'm being completely honest. And they didn't even care anyway because it's all pixelated. Now, we're not going to pixelate anything just yet, okay? But I'm just going to copy this one here. I'm not worried about the resolution. All I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up my Skybox image, which my Skybox image, if we open it up in here in Photoshop, just opening this up here. This is my Skybox. It's just super simple. It's a PSD, okay? A lot of you didn't know, and you've mentioned this every time I stream, that you can use PSDs in Unity. The benefit of using PSDs, and by the way, this is like 4,000 pixels wide. The benefit of using PSDs is we can quickly iterate. Now, is it slower on import? Yes, it's slower on import. Is it bulkier project files? 1,000%. 1,000%. But that kind of stuff, that doesn't bother me, okay? All right, I'm going to move this up here. My own project folders are just massive. They're just absolutely massive for my own commercial games. So I'd rather have the ability to iterate all of my art quickly than a speedy import. I could give it two craps about a speedy import, personally. So we don't want two suns. So I'm going to remove this one. Whoops. This one here, remove it. Edit fill. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that there's no pinching. I'll show you what I mean by pinching. Hang on. I'm going to make sure there's no pinching for the Skybox. But let me go ahead and import this into Unity. And already it looks 10 times better. Okay. So there's our sky. I'm going to squash it a little bit so it's not so massive. It looks really big and bulky. But there's pinching right there. So the way that we're going to remove the pinching is I'm going to grab this color here. Just do this. There we go. And now when we look up, we don't see any pinching, but we do see this seam here. I'm going to show you how to make that seamless. Now, we're not going to make anything look retro yet. Okay, so if I enter play mode here, thank you, thank you. Roma says, hey man, I really enjoy your content. Keep it up. Thank you. So this is already looking 10 times better, but it does not look cohesive, obviously. We've got a bunch of missing textures. We've got free assets. We've got ugly quads that I've added for retro looking art assets like what is that called? It's called a fence. We've got trees. They're not going to be blowing in the wind or anything. It's all retro. And then we're on terrain here. Okay. And we'll talk about how to make the terrain look better, because right now it looks like crap. Okay. So right now, I'm going to squash my Skybox a little bit more and make it smaller, because right now it looks really big and in your face. Okay, that's better. I'm going to squash it like this, though. Bring it up closer to the horizon. Good. Do you see why I want to use PSDs? I'm quickly iterating. That looks great. Let me just stretch it a little bit here, move it up, and then I can take this horizon here and do that. That looks pretty good. Do 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 do. No, that's Wind Waker. Dun 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 dun. So that looks awesome. Now let's go ahead and make sure it loops properly. And we're gonna jump into our color palette in just a sec. In order to get it to tile or mirror correctly, all I've got to do is move this over here. Okay. I'm going to crop this. It's all one image. I'm going to crop it, duplicate it, transform, flip horizontal, move it over here. So it's snug against this edge over here. You can see that pink line just appeared. And then fade like so. Just like that. Neato. I'm tempted to just abandon YouTube altogether, guys, and just make an Ocarina of Time type game all alone for 4 years. Wouldn't that be incredible? Just to completely leave YouTube behind. Oh, sorry, I'm letting my subconscious get the best of me. One thing I cry about is not being able to use PSDs for Unreal. This workflow seems nice. Oh, it's incredible. It's my favorite. Okay, so far so good. Now, let's talk about our color palette. Thomas, by the way, a lot of you think, Thomas, it's blurry, it's ugly. Yeah, we're gonna crunch everything so that it looks retro. Okay, let's worry about our color palette now. And here's what I'm gonna do with my color palette. The first thing I want to do is, am I absolutely sure about the background, about the sky? Well, I'm not sure about this. That top blue portion, not my favorite, because it shouldn't get lighter when I look up. It should actually get darker and more saturated. That's my opinion about skyboxes. I can't talk. You want it to get darker as we look up. Let's see if that's true. Yep, there we go. Now you'll notice that Thomas, oh my goodness gracious me, what is happening? Well, there's two things that could be going on here. The first one is, if it's set to clamp, if it's not set to clamp, it'll do that. And if it's not set to point no filter, it'll do that. Also, if generate bitmaps is turned on, it will always do that. So that's not our issue. Our issue is actually this. We zoom in. What do we got? Let's find the issue. There it is. That's our issue. I'm just going to stretch it over. We should be able to get a nice, perfect, seamless. There it is. Okie dokie. And we don't have any fog on right now. We don't have any directional lights. Actually, there's one right there. Let's delete it. So this is what it looks like without a directional light. This is a very basic directional light. So I lied. It does have a directional light with an intensity of 1.71, but there's no shadows. I haven't even angled it properly. There you go. Okay, so are we absolutely sure about our skybox? Almost. We're almost sure. But let's go ahead and give it a subtle tweak. I want to make it look a little bit more stylized. So what I'm going to do is go a little bit more to the green, desaturate it, and I think, also this needs to be much more saturated at the top and much more darker. There we go. But I'm going to desaturate the entire thing just like that. I'm going to drop down this influence on it just like that. And overall, I think that's the skybox I want. Slightly stylized. But what I mean by that is it's a little bit on the green side. So we're just getting a little bit more of a stylish looking sky. Realistic would be no green, just flat blue. So I like having things just a little bit more towards the green, okay? What fog do I use for Twisted Tower? I use something called, it's like a volumetric fog asset that I bought, but that's for the like fog you could see in front of your face, like it's got texture to it. But I also just use the Unity fog as well. Does that make sense? Okie dokie. So far, so good. Now what I'm going to do is choose my color palette. I want grass. So we're going to choose the color of our grass. I'm not going to choose an ugly color like this. I'm going to choose a nice sort of desaturated yellowy grass. You guys know I love sort of yellowy grass. But I'm not going to go too crazy. I don't want to go too stylish because then it's not going to feel like Ocarina of Time. So that green looks pretty good with that blue. Let's think about our dirt color. Our dirt color is going to be a low saturation reddish dirt, like that. I could probably crank up this saturation here. There we go. Go a little bit more towards the yellow side, and then I can actually desaturate the sky and maybe lighten it a little bit. Okay, that's perfect. I think this, we could probably crank up the brightness a little bit. There we go. It's going to look a little bit stylish. This right here, this is going to be that's the color of the tree bark, the color of the ground, dark, yep. And what other assets do we have in here that we will be using color for? Ah, yes. Just straight up stone. Straight up stone, we could probably do just a gray. Yeah, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little bit more saturation. By the way, if you're thinking, wow, Thomas is floundering, this is how I pick colors, okay? That's why I like to start with the Skybox, because the Skybox gives me this base layer, and I can kind of see kind of what the scene is going to look like, and then I can pick colors on top of it in Photoshop to get a nice understanding of just a very abstract view, kind of a bird's eye view of what my colors are going to be, okay? So now I could pick my browns. There we go. Yeah, something like that. Maybe desaturate it, but darken it. Just trying to create a very nice color palette here. That's interesting. Sometimes you can mimic brown by adding a little bit of red to it. Thomas, do you always make your own palette, or do you ever use something like LawSpec? I don't ever use color palettes from websites and stuff, or like software. I have no issue with it. I tend to eyeball things, but you've probably noticed me teach using color palette tools. And that's because I know that a lot of you, your predisposition is not just color theory. You weren't like born with a passion for color theory, and that's totally okay. For me, I love color theory. It's definitely in my blood. Okay, and then we're gonna need a pop of color as well. So the pop of color is gonna be like an orange or a red. There we go. And that's gonna appear less frequently. So how do you guys feel about this color palette? Okay. How do you feel about it? This is what we're going to use for our retro kind of Ocarina of Time game. It's a little bit trendy, a little bit stylish, but that's how I like to do things. So that's what we're going to do. Hey, Jason, how you doing, buddy? Okay. So there's our color palette. And in fact, if I save this, I could see it in the sky. Yay! We want to make sure that this doesn't look like crap. The reason it looks like crap is because there's this gradient or this gray being added to it. So we want it to be just like that. There we go. So there's our color palette in the sky. So what's my point here? Why do we have a color palette? We use this color palette to colorize this scene. I'm not just making this up off the top of my head. This is how I make games. This is how I did Twisted Tower. This is how I did Never Song. This is how I did. I'm going to grab this color here. Pinstripe. This is how I did Coma, my very first Flash game. This is how I did Brave Boy, which has been canceled. And now what we're going to do is just adjust the hue, but not colorize. I'm not going to colorize this grass. Okay? You can even see the watermarks here. That's hilarious. I'm going to do my very best not to colorize the grass, but instead just adjust the hue. Why? Because if you colorize it, it makes everything look really flat. There we go. We're getting there. So I'm just trying to eyeball it. That's pretty good. Save that. It's going to look like crap, but hang tight. So far, so good. Now, if it looks like crap in Unity, it's a lighting problem. Right now, this is why it's so important to have a color palette in something that's lighting independent. You don't want to make sure your colors match in the game right now. You want to make sure they match in Photoshop. This is our standard. There's no weird variables, adjusting our colors here. It's a little bit saturated, and I could probably decrease the brightness here. Okay, there we go. And I promise, guys, this is all going to make sense. Okay, and it's all going to start looking really, really good as well. So I'm going to grab this here, this tree. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove all the other higher resolution LODs. By the way, this is a free asset. I'm going to remove this higher resolution LOD. There we go. And all we have is this one. Nice and ugly. That's what we want for the retro game. I'm going to remove the LOD group. There we go. Now, if we really wanted to, we could have it do a billboard for the LOD, but for the purposes of this tutorial, we're just going to do an ugly, ugly tree. And a lot of you will probably realize that. You download a bunch of assets, they look high resolution. If they're environment assets, meaning they have a long draw distance, as opposed to interior architecture and furniture, because a lot of interiors, they don't need a long draw distance, so they don't have an LOD. Outdoor environmental stuff tends to have LODs, which is great for retro development because you can then delete the higher resolution LODs and remove the LOD group entirely and just have that one LOD in the prefab. And then now all of them are just this crappy looking tree, which is exactly what we want. We want it to look like junk. You'll notice that some of you probably followed me on Twitter, and I said it's time to get rid of the VHS filters. It's time to get rid of the pixel filters for indie developers because I feel like they're being overused. You're probably thinking, well, Thomas, you're going back on your word. No, you can make a low-res game without the filters, without VHS filters, without pixel filters. In fact, if I'm going to play an old school game, I want to play a remastered version, like remastered, meaning it's 4K, and you can see the crunchy pixelated textures, but the lines are clean, right? That's kind of what the goal is here. Okay, let's go ahead and make this a Photoshop file. Okay, these leaves, for example, these are not a Photoshop file. They're a PNG. I'm going to change this. Well, actually, this is a little bit different because now we're getting hung up on the shaders. Okay, so I'm going to save it as a PSD. This shader takes this red color and it adjusts it. Okay, so you can see here, right? You can see that it's taking that red and it's adjusting it. So that's the primary color. This is totally fine. We're just working within the confines of our the assets we have, right? If I really wanted to, though, I could take this. My theory is I could take this, put it in the URP, and just do lit. Okay, we'll see what happens here. I can grab that leaf PSB, add it to the base layer. Yeah, this is probably what I'm going to do. I'd rather do this. I'd rather just have control in Photoshop, like I mentioned earlier. My brother's texting me about beta testing Twisted Tower. I just love my brothers so much. They're so helpful and supportive. They've all been testing Twisted Tower so much, and you'd think the last people on earth you'd want to test your game is your brothers. And it's like, no. They're super honest. They love my style of games. They share my brain. but they're also very they want me to succeed as well. It's just like the perfect beta tester. And they also love BioShock. Okay, so what I could do here is I could just do a hue adjustment of the reds. I'm going to grab this color here. That's the same color we want. Yep. And I'm just going to make sure that it's pretty much matching that color. Do you see, guys? Okay. I'm going to make sure I go to my greens and adjust the base layer down there, and I'm going to match it to the trees. This is stonework. This is trees. Okay. So I'm just going to take this color and I'm going to put it right here. You're probably thinking, well, Thomas, why don't you just paint over it? It's so much better when you can save the detail information from an asset. And if you could do it with the hue saturation shift, that's a better approach, in my opinion. There we go. Matches. See? Look at that. So all I needed to do is take that file, turn it into a PSD, and we want to make sure that I'm going to set it to cutout. Oh, it already is. Okay, it's already set to cutout. Because there's no transparency. I could be completely wrong here, but there's no transparency in Ocarina of Time. Everything is an alpha cutout. Let's see here. There it is. Boom. Thomas wins again. Thomas, correct again. No alpha. It's all a cutout. But there's no transparency, I guess is a better way to put it. I'm going to turn down the smoothness. We don't want that. It's super vibrant. I'm going to assume that vibrancy is from the directional light. I hope that's true. Let's see if we turn it down. In fact, I'm just going to create a simple. That's unlit. No. Here's what we're going to do. Let's turn off any ambient lighting, and now let's officially bring in our directional light. There we go. All right, we've got our directional light. And I don't know which way it's facing because it's not casting shadows. But overall, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. I'm just trying to make sure we weren't blowing out our light because it was getting really confusing. Yeah, no semi-transparency. There's no such thing as a transparent, like a semi-transparent pixel. Exactly. In like a retro game. There's also no such thing as a terrain tool. But we're going to use certain things like the terrain tool because I want to show you guys how to do this without modeling. Okay, let's move on. That's good. Grass is good. I could delete this. And then that's good. What else can we do, guys? Oh, the bark. Let's double check our bark. Some of you are probably thinking you're tempted. You're tempted. This is what always happens. You're tempted to go, you know what? That looks fine. I'm going to go outside the color palette. This looks fine. No. Stick to your color palette. Create rules for yourself because that is going to help you. Excuse me. That's going to help it look cohesive. This is especially important. With the... Let me turn off alpha clipping here. This is especially important. What am I doing? Give me a sec. This is especially important with... Say it, Thomas. What are you trying to say? Asset flipping. You want to follow a color scheme with asset flipping. Okay, here we go. There's our trunk albedo. There it is. But what we're going to do is actually make this a Photoshop file. And by the way, making retro games it's particularly useful. Asset flipping is particularly beneficial in a retro game environment because you're just going to crunch all the textures down, right? So let's grab our texture here. There it is. Good. Boom. Turn off the smoothness. I'm going to kill smoothness. By the way, normal maps, specular information, metallic information. This isn't really present in an old school retro N64 game. You might have metallic in, let's say, Link's sword, but my theory is that's like one singular object that had that value. But the rest of it is going to be flat, no normal maps. Everything looks like it's made out of velvet in the 90s and the early 2000s. Or like a soft a soft a soft matte finish. That's what everything looks like. Okay. Okay, so what we're gonna do is again match this color here. Remember, you might be tempted. This is another trick. You might be tempted to go, well, I'll just match it to this. No, match it to your standard, which is this. Okay, that's our standard. This is a RGB, or I'm sorry, this is a black and white image. We're going to change it to RGB, not CMYK. CMYK is for print. It's ink. So we were unable to create layers. If you're ever unable to create layers in Photoshop, it's because you're not in RGB. This one I'm going to have to colorize, unfortunately. We're going to match it to that color there. Pretty good. I think we're good to go here. We're going to save this, and it should pop up there. There we go. Matchy, matchy. So this looks like it has specular, and I'm not sure why. I'm going to turn that off. I don't know why. Is it because the workflow is specular? I don't know. I don't know why that color doesn't look perfect, but that's okay, I guess. Alrighty. Ready to move on, guys? Let's keep colorizing. Let's go ahead and colorize the sand, right? For some reason, we're missing a dirt file. Looks like I don't have dirt. I have sand, but I don't have dirt. Let's go ahead and duplicate this sand file here and call it dirt. Okay, good. I'm just going to Google an image of dirt. Dirt texture. Yes, I totally agree that the VH filter and pixelation filters are used to help with visual cohesion. The problem is oftentimes they're used as a band-aid. My opinion is they should be the last little thing you put on there, gently. It's like, in a way, it's kind of like saying, I use salt and butter to make my food taste good. And it's like, no, you got to do the right ingredients first. And then you put your salt on. Anything post-processing should be done not as a solution, but as a benefit, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that makes sense. You just got to be real careful with it. Okay, I'm going to grab this dirt here. That's actually a brownie. It does look like brownies. Speaking of butter and salt and sugar. Okay, there's our dirt. Same thing, guys. I'm going to take this color here. Actually, so sorry. The dirt is actually going to be this color here. Okay, this is our stone, and that's our dirt. My theory is these are going to change, but it's at least a start. It's got a little bit of a green hue in it, right? That's it. All right, there's our dirt. Okay. I mean, honestly, here's what I'm going to do. We're not going to use sand, for God's sake. So we're just going to make this sand dirt, because I've already painted it onto the scene. There we go. And we're just going to rename it dirt. Just because, man, I don't even need that. So yeah, we're definitely going to recolor this because I don't like that. But it's, hey, good to know. Good to know. All right. Let that delete. Unity, oh, it has such a hard time deleting stuff. I really hate when the VHS filter can't be turned off. It might be just something, might be just me, but just saying, I agree. I totally agree. I do. I have a problem with the VH filter excess in the indie game world. A garnish, exactly. That's a great point. It should be a garnish. Okay, we've got our dirt, ladies and gentlemen. Very good. The stone, might as well just get this color right. So this is our stone. I kind of feel like this should be stone, and the dirt should match the bark, if I'm being completely honest. Yeah, I feel like that should be the color of our dirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this actually match, because now that I see it, I don't like it, and that's okay. There we go. Saved, and then we're going to go to our stone here. Again, it's a PSD file, guys, so super simple. Yeah, let's use that. What am I talking about? What am I even saying? There we go. Hey, that looks good. I think we're there. Yeah, we're there. Probably a little bit more in the green. Okay, good. All right. That looks good to me, man. There's our stone. Here's our sand. Sand, it should not be called sand. Let's edit that terrain layer. I'm going to type in sand here. Where is my terrain layer? I tell you what, Unity really needs to get their act together with this terrain tool, because it's so... There's a lot of things that are just missing from it. There it is. Okay. Dirt. Okay. Good, good, good. Let's enter play mode and feel it out. That's me with vignettes. They piss me off to no end. I agree with vignettes. I totally agree. So for some reason that didn't save. Something's off with this dirt. Something is off with that dirt, and I cannot put a finger on it. There it is. Boop. Okie dokie. So guys, our dirt, look, what do you think? Our dirt matches our trees. Our trees are way too transparent right there. They're like see-through. We're going to have to figure that out. So our dirt matches our trees, and it matches our tree trunks. So far, so good. Why are those see-through in play mode? I cannot put a finger on it. This is a question that we're going to have to figure out. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. Moving on. What else do we got? We got this ugly fence. Well, let's remove the white. And I think you guys are going to be very surprised. I'm going to turn off contiguous here. I think you're going to be very surprised how this all looks amazing by the end of this stream here. We're going to make this kind of seamless here. And I'm just going to do a very simple colorize right now. Again, we're going to match it to the tree bark. That's totally fine. We're going to match it to the tree bark. And again, we're not going to do a colorization. We're just going to do a hue shift. There we go. That's it. Save it. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it's set to alpha clipping. Dude, already looking good here. I kind of want to do an aggressive clip. There we go. Dun dun do 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 bum bum ba da da ba ba da 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 bum ba da da ba. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna move this down so it clips nice into the grass. We'll just into the ground. I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna go and grab this color here. Same freaking thing, guys. Do you guys see why it's so important to have a nice color palette that you love, that you think is awesome? If you can do that, you win. All right, here we go. Greens. Crank up the saturation and the brightness. There we go. Looks pretty good there. We may also need to do a subtle colorize over top of it. Just a faint color over top of it. Because yeah, like that. Yeah, it just wasn't looking good. I also think there's too much detail, honestly. So I'm going to grab this and just do a very subtle make it a lot more less detailed by just scaling it up. Yeah, something like that. Now we're going to see clipping on the sides, but we're going to do a little bit of an alpha clip here. There we go. There's our grass. And then, hey, what are we going to do? We're going to go inside of it, and we're going to paste a child at the 0 position, and we're just going to create a billboard, okay? Make sure it's at the right position here. This Y position is 100. Let's do it. Let's do it in scene view because I can't really see here. I think a better solution to this, honestly, is to do 2 of them here so that they're nice and cleanly positioned. So we're going to do 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and then one of them will be 90 degrees along the Y-axis, and you want to render both faces, right? I hate that, though. What is happening to that? Getting some really nasty shading there. I don't like that. Turn the smoothness off. I don't know what's going on there. I cannot put a finger on that. My hope is that that's just a lighting issue, but we'll see. Because if I turn up the ambient light, my theory is we're going to see some of it. There we go. So we're probably going to need a little bit of ambient light because the directional light is coming at an angle, and so you're just going to get black on one side. Okay, we're not going to do any weird pixelation of this right now. We're going to leave it as is. We're not going to do any weird shaders associated with it to make it wobble in the wind. We're not going to try and make it look high fidelity. Who cares? What we're going to do is we're going to, let's see here. There's a bunch of overrides. Some of these are smaller than others. That's because I need to move them all up. So just for now, all I'm going to do is move them all up because they got repositioned a little bit. Okay, there we go. I don't know what that is. That's the wooden sign. So for some reason, because the wooden sign is a prefab variant, it's absorbing the information from the other one. So what I'm going to do is completely unpack this, remove the grass. There's our wooden sign, and I'm going to make sure I go back to the wooden sign prefab. Let's find it, and I'm going to override it here. Where the F is the wooden sign? Oh my goodness, it's not a prefab. There's no prefab for the wooden sign, so I'm just going to put it in our folder here. Now we have a wooden sign. Okay, grass is good. Also, this is our bush. Our bush is a prefab variant of the grass. So what I can do here, I'm going to remove this mesh renderer. Give me a sec here. Yes, this has a mesh renderer on it. We're going to remove it. So now, if we go to our grass here, this is our bush. Now what we're going to do is just bring that bush billboard back in. There it is. Save. Okay, now let's go into our bushes. Same thing, guys. Get rid of the white. Go in and grab our color. And we're just going to do a hue saturation shift. There we go. Crank it up. We're just trying to match it. That's all we're doing here. Honestly, I think that's good. Let's save and take a look. Brilliant. I kind of want it to be clipped by default. Oh, no, I kind of like the idea of having it available not clipped into the ground. So that's actually good. So let's do that. Very good, very good. Save it. And we're going to clip. Alpha clipping. Bing. There we go. Turn on double-sided. Good. Turn off the smoothness values. And now we have retro bushes. You'll notice that we're getting a little bit of white there. Let's see what's going on there. I want to make sure I remove the PSD matte. Okay, that's not it. I think it's just in the file itself. So what I'm going to do is grab this, the black portion of it, and I'm going to expand by 3 and then just set that all to black. That way we don't see any of that white. There we go. Yay, Thomas, you win again. Of course I do. All right, what do we got here? That has a smoothness. Turn it off. No smoothness in our retro game, guys. No smoothness in our retro game. Are you guys, what is that? That was supposed to be the mountain. So I'm gonna set this back to what it was. That was a prefab, sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and go to our mountain here. Mountain billboard. There it is. I'm gonna make a prefab out of this. There we go. So now I have my mountain prefab, and we'll worry about that in a second here. Actually, that one and this are our last billboard. So let's just go ahead and do this. We're gonna call that graphic here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and open up the Sid Photoshop. Alrighty. I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna trim it. And what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm just gonna kind of make it a little bit more taller, kind of like the Death Mountain. There we go. Just using my mouse here. Death Mountain, and obviously you have the ring over top. And I'm just gonna make very generic shapes. This is the way that I've been making games for a while now, which is very simplistic shapes. And I don't make it perfect. I just get a very generic idea of how it's looking in game. And it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. From Unity to Blender or Unity to Photoshop. Okay, I'm going to grab the peak here. Just this portion here. Select, inverse. And remove this part. There we go. Mask it out. And now we have the mountain with the smoke. I can rasterize that layer there and do a little bit of a blur, like a motion blur. Excuse me, guys. Do something like this. We'll do a lot of colorize, maybe make it brown or something. There we go. And then you can make it really faint. Call it a day. Okay. Is that what it looks like? I don't even know. Let's double I forget. Let's double check here. Death Mountain. I can't remember. Let's move forward though here. Okay. So I'm going to use the 2D scale tool. I kind of want to cut a little bit more there. Alpha clipping turned on. Okay. So there we go. There's our mountain. Now let's colorize it so it looks like it matches. Okie dokie. So far so good, guys. So far so good. I'm having a good time. What about you guys? Is everybody doing okay? Everybody nice and happy? We're going to use this stone color. Everybody doing good? Okay, what do we got? I'm not going to colorize this. I want to keep some of those details in there. Trust me. I don't have to explain myself. Just trust me. There we go. That matches. I'm going to go to my cyans and drop that down. Honestly, we could probably just make that look more like the green. Or no, the sky. We want to make it match the sky. In fact, here's what I'm going to do. Grab this color here. And then we're just going to do a faint. There we go. Boom. That is our Misty Mountain. Not Misty Mountain, our Death Mountain. Awesome. Okay, there we go. Hey, Thomas, what is going on? I see white. I understand. Hang tight. We're going to cheat. We're going to make sure this is set to transparent here. The clipping is just not going to work for us. In fact, I'm very curious how they did that faint cloud above it. This is all very generic and very abstract. I'm going to make that smoke ring look a lot better. But we're all just getting the colors down. That's all we're doing here. Let us see here. No alpha clipping. And we're going to make sure that this piece right here See that? We don't want that. We're going to set it to clip. All right. Or clamp. Okay, and make sure we turn off the PSD matte. We're going to remove it. Oh, yes, looks so good. Okay. Colorization is slowly coming together. What's another billboard we got? Oh, we got a sign billboard. Let's do it. Now, do you guys remember in Ocarina of Time, it is 3D. We're going to do 2D for now and see if we can get away with it. Mainly because I don't want to jump into... for the purpose of this video, I don't want to model anything. Okay? Excuse me. So we're going to see if... Excuse me. We're going to see if we get away with making this sign just 2D. There we go. Delete. And yeah, delete it. And then we want this to be not so long on that side. There's our sign. Here's your sign. There we go. Kind of want it to be squashed a little bit. Yeah. Let's go ahead and trim it. And then we're going to make sure that we... let's get rid of that. We don't need that. Save it. Let's get the right color for the sign. Again, it's brown, right? Let's go ahead and grab that color. Hue saturation shift. Drop it down. That's it. It's a little red. There we go. All right, sign is good. Set it to alpha clipping. Good, and it's a little squashed. So we'll do this. Now you're probably thinking, Thomas, it doesn't look retro. Well, it's not gonna yet. Hang tight, hang tight. Set it to both. Render both faces. Oh, yeah. So we've got our sign. We've got our trees. They're just fading out into the distance, and I don't know why they're doing that. If I set it to transparent, I wonder if it would actually do that. I'm going to make sure that the alpha is transparency and remove matte. Yeah, there we go. That feels like it's better. I feel like the alpha clipping was causing some problems. I could be wrong. I'm not sure why. We'll figure it out. Let's enter play mode here. All right. N64 had transparency. Well, maybe it did. I need that. There needs to be more saturation right there. But I'm not seeing any transparency in Ocarina of Time. So, or semi-transparency is what I mean. Guys, it's already looking so much better. Look at this. Let's just get those pink rocks removed and adjust the coloring. And then we're going to add fog and lighting and pixelation, sound, and do some terrain work. And it's going to be like, whoa, what just happened? We've got this nice little atlas here. I don't know what that is. Tsunami Games, is that what it says? But we're going to get that color. Again, this is our brick and our stone color. That's our brick and stone color here. And I'm going to make sure that the stonework matches. Okay. Hue saturation shift. Saturation down. Do you guys see why it's so important to have your color swatches? It's so important to have them at your fingertips so that you can match up your game. I think, honestly, there's so many tutorials out there on YouTube, and there's so many like game devs talking about game dev. Rarely do I don't think I've ever seen anybody talk about why you need to have color swatches, even for a 3D game. It's just going to make things so much easier for you. we're going to just grab this right here. Also, the importance of using PSDs is so understated, I think, in the tutorial world. All right, so that doesn't match, right? There we go. That matches. Does that make sense, guys? All right. Save it as a PSD, of course. Now, I like to put PSD on the end of it so that I know it's a PSD. There it is. That's this right here. Boom. There you go. Turn off the specular. This right here. Same thing. Boom. Turn off the specular. Alrighty. This one down here, this is a billboard, a stone wall billboard. Same thing, right? I want to take the color of stone, bring it in. Guys, this seems so simple, but I would argue that this is one of the hardest things for game devs to fully grasp. Going in and just getting your colors just right. Because this is so gray, I'm going to have to do probably a colorize for this one, sadly. I don't want to do it, but I think I'm going to have to. That's it, man. It's a little green. There we go. Okay, good. So that's super dark. I'm not sure why. There we go. It was because of the color value of it. Good. All right, let's go to our stones. I'm going to save this scene. Holy crap, I didn't save yet. All right. Here we go. Oh, double side this, baby. Both. There we go. And then this stone. Stylized rock. It's set to standard shader. Well, we're in URP. URP is my weapon of choice. Set it to lit. And you'll notice we got toon shaded rocks, didn't we? Don't worry. We're going to make them look great. The first question I have is, does this baked normal map, and in fact, even if I got rid of it, you're going to see baked occlusion, AO, baked AO on it. And the seams are nice and have this nice sort of shade on it. I think this is a bad idea. I think this is going to make it look like a GameCube game and not an N64 game. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove, obviously, any normal maps, but I'm going to open this up. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it a PSD. I'm going to just put a gross stone texture on top of it. You know? Like this right here. Let's see if this works for us. Now, here's the one thing you don't want to do. You don't want a really badly unwrapped model. Because unwrapping, things weren't terribly unwrapped in Ocarina of Time. So this one might actually be a little bit challenging. Where's our stone here? That's our rock. Where's our stone? There we go. So what we're going to do here, go into here, and we're just going to see how this looks for now. Very simple. See what happens here. Okay, the unwrap is not great. Do I hate it? I don't think so. I don't think I hate it. I really don't know if I hate that. Alternatively, what's the solution here? We could just play with it and see what happens. You know? Yeah, it's just going to have to be a bad unwrap. Unless we brought it into substance, which we could definitely do. But I think that is fine. I really do. I think that's totally fine. Yeah, you're going to see some seams here, like right there. But I don't hate it. We can get away with certain things with a retro game, can't we? I think it needs a little bit of a flat color on it. So that over there, that looks a little bit more flat than this. So what I'm going to do going to grab our stone. I believe that's the stone, right? I'm going to put it over top of this. Whoops. Just fill it in and do this. Okay, it's a little bit foggy. Hang tight. Good. Okay, there we go. Matchy, matchy. Matchy, matchy. Okay. Have we done all of our assets? That's the question. No, we have not. We have water here. This was going to be ground, a ground piece that I wanted to work on. And this is going, yep, this is our water, and this is going to be a stone wall. The stone wall, I'm going to make sure the color's correct. Again, if we go to our assets here, or our color palette here, this is stone. All of these assets, what you want to do is all of these assets are going to be stuff that I can use over and over and over again, and I can then start designing the scene. But I don't want to design the scene until I have all my assets colorized and the textures ready, okay? All right, so this right here, I'm going to adjust. Probably going to need to do a colorize. No, actually we're good. What I'm going to do is actually put this on top of it, very faint, and I think we'll call it a day. There we go. So that doesn't really match that, and it's because it's a contrast issue. There we go. There we go. Okay. So those all match. Colors look good. This right here, this blue, we want it to match the sky. Okay. In fact, that mathematically makes sense, doesn't it? You want your sky to effectively be reflected off of your water. So let's go to our water here. I'm going to grab sort of the average color of our sky, which is this. It doesn't look like it, but I'm going to trust the process here. And I'm going to just drop it down, make it darker. That doesn't look right, but let's trust this process here. Yeah, there it is. It does match. Okay, there's our water. Let's see here. No, Unity allows PSD and PSB. And in fact, if you want a PSB file in Unity, you got to make sure you install the PSB importer in Package Manager. That's my experience from, let's say, 2023. Maybe things have changed. I need to desaturate things at the top here a little bit. The interesting thing is I've been thinking a lot about indie development. Indie development is basically game development 10 years ago, but really cheap now and done with a small team. So if you think, oh my goodness, I don't think I can make Ocarina of Time. Well, because it's a massive Nintendo game, things are different now. I don't know if you could make it at that scale, but I think anybody could make an Ocarina of Time game. With that level of fidelity, yeah. It just wouldn't be as big, but it would look that way and it would feel that way. That's my opinion. That blue at the bottom there is driving me nuts. I'm going to make it gray because it's not matching the horizon. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and reduce the fidelity of our graphics and also make them loop perfectly and tile perfectly. So first off, our terrain here looks like crap, and the reason why is because that grass is way too thin, I believe. The pieces are too thin. So let's go to a tile of 15 by 15. This stone, 15 by 15. Might even want to go bigger. And that dirt seems fine, I guess. But other than that, I think we're okay here. Let's enter play mode. You guys ready? Oh my goodness, it's looking pretty good. Wouldn't you guys say? Are we getting there? All right. So those are transparent. Who is the person in the chat? Can you raise your hand? The person in the chat said those bushes in play mode are going to be cooked. And you were right. Why is that? I don't understand why that is. Why in play mode, this is the one thing I can't tell you guys. Is it because they're metallic? Is it because they're set to metallic? Let's see. I don't know. I don't know. There we go. It's, yes. It's because of the alpha clipping threshold. Well, there you go. Now we know. Now you know. Good. That means we can set those. That's why those were doing that, by the way. If you set this to alpha clipping. No, they're good. They're actually good. The bushes here are a little too contrasty. By the way, the trees, we want to go a little bit bigger. So because they're a prefab, I can just say 4x4x4. And there we go. The bushes are a little too big. So again, 1x1x1. Bring them all down. Oh, look at that. 1x1x1. Okay, so scene looks terrible. What is this? This is our grass. Turn off the smoothness. Is it the right texture? Because it doesn't look like it matches. Let's set it to 4x4x4. I'm sorry. 0.1x0.1x0.1. I want to see why it's not looking perfect here. Okay, I think it looks pretty good actually. I think we're okay. All right, this is going to be a terrain piece that we can use to generate something like, it's not going to be perfect, I'll tell you why in a sec, but it's not going to be, I want to do stuff like this. But trust me, you cannot do this perfectly by merging a Pro Builder mesh with terrain. It's never going to look as good as how they did it here, which this is fine-tuned vertices, an actual mesh. It's not a terrain. But I want to use terrain for you guys because I thought about starting this tutorial with a giant Pro Builder terrain, but I want to use terrain for you guys because I want it to be simple. And simple's great. We want things to be simple, right? I wonder, okay, the water's good. I'm just going to go ahead and get the water done here. What I'm going to do is unpack this prefab. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make a big water plane here. And all it's going to do, and we're going to use ChatGPT for this, all we're going to do is have that water tiling underneath itself. And just moving in different directions. That's it. And it's going to make it look like retro water. We're going to set it transparent here. There we go. So that is going to move like this. And this is going to move like this. And as long as we're not too close to each other, we should be good. Okay, the tiling texture. I wonder if I already have a script for this. Looping texture. I do. I already have a looping texture script, so we're going to use that. All it does is creates a scroll for the base map. We're going to remove preserve specular highlights. I'm fine with it receiving shadows. Turn off the smoothness values. And all we're going to do here is have it move it like 3x3. Maybe this will work. I'm going to save the scene and hit play and take a look. Okay, good. It works. We're going to set it to 0.1 by 0.1. Okay, I just wanted to get this out of the way because I don't want to be... We're at 0.05 by 0.05, okay? Same here. I'm going to copy that looping script here. Looping texture script. And if you're curious what this is all it's doing is on the update, it's just moving the base map. That's all the script is. Very simple. Let's go ahead and make sure we add this back to our prefabs. It's called water. I'm just going to do it here. And for the purposes of this, all I'm going to do is have one big, huge water mesh like this. Come on. And we'll use terrain to sort of create a little lake. Okay, but I'm going to keep this here, and we're going to set the tiling to like 5x5. There we go. There we go. I like it. Increase it like this. And I feel like we've got all of our assets, guys. Now we need to move into lighting and fog and Yeah. And we need to make sure we pixelate things. Pixelate our textures. Yes, one final thing. I wanted to make a little plateau piece that we can use over and over and over again, okay? So here's what we're going to do. I can go to my Pro Builder window here, and I'm going to create a little loop cut. Actually, no. This is Pro Builder, by the way, guys. Pro Builder allows us to do very rudimentary shape shifting for 3D objects. Okay, so this is just a cube, and I could create a plateau here. So something like that is fine, but I want it to go down. And hey, let's go ahead and create a loop cut on this edge here. An edge loop. And then insert an edge loop here as well, right? And the goal would be to create some kind of a plateau piece like you see here. And you could just insert it and wrap it around various parts of the terrain. So let's see if we can do something like that. Here we go. And that's going to be tough to create something like that, but I can create instead what I can create. And this is because we're not using a full-on Pro Builder mesh for our terrain. So we're not trying to be true to source, as one of you mentioned earlier in chat. What we're trying to do is do this simply and easily as an indie game developer and have it look retro. And we don't really want to use a bunch of filters either, though, because you guys know I don't really love retro filters either. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So we're just creating a little bit of a terrain piece that we can use. And this will slowly go down to 0, basically. So grab that and that, like this. Insert the edge loop here. One little edge loop here. That way I can make this look a little bit more natural. We want to be able to use this piece a lot, okay? There we go. Good. Now we're going to move this down, and move this down, move this down, move this down. Okay. That way, look, guys, we have this little plateau piece we can insert into the ground just to capture this sort of low poly ground piece that, frankly, is way worse than what Nintendo has done, which, again, what Nintendo has done, they've got one big piece, one big terrain piece that's perfectly unwrapped. We're using terrain here, though, so we're trying to mimic that in a quick and effective way, an efficient way. Okay, so there is our grass. Our grass is on this. It's just like super tiled. It's crazy tiled. So I'm going to set it to 111. I'm going to select all of our faces. Select by material. Where is it? There we go. I'm going to go to the UV editor, and I'm going to set this to a high value. There we go, like 16. So it matches the terrain here. Does that make sense? Now, what do you notice about this? They've got an unwrap here that's really brilliant. Okay, so we're going to try and mimic that as best as we can with our own texture. Okay, so we're going to try and mimic this with our own texture. What we're going to do is grab this. I'm going to duplicate this. Save it as, we're going to call this a trim. So stone trim. And what we can do here is take our grass, right? This right here. I can take the grass, merge the layers, and then I can go to my stone wall. I'm sorry, what was it? Where was it? What was it called? No! It's gone! Oh, there it is. I could take that, and I could do this. We're going to pixelate the crap out of all this, but this is fine for now. Okay? So there's our stone trim. Now what I can do is just add that, open up our Pro Builder window, and I can just do it right here. And because this is one piece that we're going to use over and over and over again, okay, hang on one sec. We want to make sure that that was incorrectly added. Okay, that needs to be, you need to add a material, not a texture. But anyway, select material here. Where is our grass? Where did our frickin' grass go? Is it right here? There it is. Okay. I'm not sure why it's off colored, but we're going to figure that out later. So this is our stone trim. Very good. And I can go ahead, go into the UV editor here, and see if I can create that trim effect. Okay. So this is where we got to get a little precise, right? If I go to rotation here, I can rotate it. It's not going to be perfect, and I don't even mean to make it perfect. I don't want to. There we go. Good. Something like this, guys. And I think that'll do for now. Okay. I don't know why. I have no idea why I'm getting weird coloring there. That just confuses me. Is it the angle? No, it's not. What is it? What is it? I'm not sure. Let's make a prefab out of this. This is called the ground piece. Oh, good. We've got it. Okay. So it's already a prefab. So what you could do with this is you could take pieces like this and put them in places like that, right? Now, because we're trying to mimic as opposed to do it perfectly, what you could do is use stone pieces to sort of hide the seam, at least on the edges of it, right? So you can do stuff like that. Okay. But that's the idea. And so when you're down low like this, the hope is, we'll see if we can make this look better, but the hope is that you're getting dynamic terrain. Looks a little bit more dynamic, right? That's the idea. Okay, I think we're ready to pixelate, wouldn't you guys say? Okay. These are way too big, so what we're going to do is take those, and we're going to do something like this. And we'll loop the textures properly after we pixelate them, okay? Let's do this. We're going to tile the textures perfectly after we pixelate. This needs to be like this, honestly. We need to grab this and just do a big one here. There we go. Now that we've sort of been following a very rigid, strict process, now's where we start to get a little bit more free flow. We start to feel it out more. I'm very strict with color, but then I get more free flowy. Delete that. More free flowy as I finish up the colors. That's good. I cannot put a finger. On why that color of the terrain is different. I'm not sure why. All right. Okay. More of a dirt texture on the side? Yeah, that's probably a good idea, actually. Really good point. Yeah. So let's go to our dirt. That's a great point. Seriously. I think you're right. That's a great idea. Let's do it. There's our stone trim. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. So it looks like it's coming out of the ground. There we go. That's brilliant. Very good point. Honestly, that looks great. Yeah. Brilliant. Now, I'm hopeful that this pixelation process makes things look much more retro. Okay, which it's highly likely that it will. But fingers crossed, right, guys? Okay. Colors all match. Are we missing anything here? Is anything off? Not really. All looks pretty good to me. I think those trees could be bigger. You'll notice a lot of what makes a game look good is the scale of things. That is very true. Okay, I think we should go ahead and start using a mosaic filter to start pixelizing everything. Okay, now here's the truth. Ocarina of Time, everything is like fuzzy and blurry. I don't like that. I wish that it was crunchy. And so I'm going to make it crunchy. I'm going to make everything look very crunchy. So let's start with our sky. Okay, here's our sky. I'm going to convert this to a smart object, which I'm just going to go ahead and rasterize it, honestly. Crop, good. And I'm going to go ahead and filter, pixelate, mosaic. We're going to go a little bit more low res here. We're just going to play with this, see how it looks, okay? Very crunchy. No thank you. I'm going to do sharpen first. I want to sharpen the crap out of this. There we go. So we can see the highlights much stronger when we do our mosaic. Can we do it with a smart object? That would be very wonderful, indeed, if we could. Now, this is one way to do it. You can also do it in the Unity inspector with the file itself. So let's set it to 3, save it, and see what it looks like. Good. Okay. The sharpening is actually causing some problems here. Okay. So I'm going to remove the sharpening. I was incorrect there. Smart filter, baby. We're going to convert this to a smart object and do the smart filter again. Pixelate, mosaic. Set it to 3. There we go. Good. So far, so good. Let's enter play mode and take a look. Yeah, you might be right about the material, the terrain material. Okay, so it's a little early 2000s, if I'm being honest. We might have to do a little bit of posterization. Pixelate. Image. Let's do a posterize and see if that helps. It does. But not that intense. There we go. Yeah, so posterize is going to reduce the amount of colors it can use. Yeah, that's good, man. We're going to keep it like this, and then we're going to move forward. And I'm probably going to end up tweaking the sky significantly to look a little bit more retro. But let's move on to the terrain. Okay, so let's go to our grass. I'm going to merge all this together. I'm going to make a smart object out of it. Why am I making a smart object out of it? Does anybody know? The reason I'm making a smart object out of it is because I don't, I want to be able to adjust these values in real time. Okay. Looks pretty good. We could probably make those bigger, honestly. And by bigger, what I mean is go to my terrain here, go to the tiling and set it to like 25 by 25. Let's try that and see what happens. Yeah, looks good. Now, yeah, a lot of you are probably thinking, oh, this is not accurate. And this is I believe it's called a splat map, which is a high resolution black and white masking that occurs on terrain, shifting from one to another. That is true. That is true. That kind of high resolution splat map would be difficult on an N64 game. Is that called a splat map? I believe that's a splat map. But let's go ahead and continue onward. Convert this to a smart object. We're not going to tile anything right now. I'll show you how we're going to tile in a sec. There's our mosaic. Same sort of thought process here. Okay, I'm going to make it bigger. 20 by 20. Yeah, N64 textures, that's exactly right. They're blurrier. They have like an anti-aliasing. I don't want to do that because I just hate that. And you're absolutely right. It's like a bunch of purlin noise. That's right. Um, really good use of the word. Okay, so far so good. I like that. I'm cool with it. Moving forward, stone. Same thing, guys. Mosaic. Boom. Now the stone is right there. I'm going to set it to 25 by 25. Really big. Chunky. Very chunky stone. I don't even know if we're going to use the stone texture, honestly. If we do, it'll probably be something like this. Right? But even still, this is not how an N64 game looks. They don't do this kind of stuff. Everything is very harsh. The lines are always very harsh. But you can, if you want, do something like this, and it's going to look more like a 1996 Sierra game, you know? Which honestly, we might end up making it look like that. You can export the splat map. That would be cool to pixelate it for sure. Y'all, this is looking pretty good. I love doing these streams with you guys. They just feel so much, they're scary. If I'm being completely honest with you, they're scary because, I swear I jump into these things. I don't really plan them. I put together the assets for like 40 minutes. I just got all my free assets, but I don't plan it. I've never done this kind of retro environment. I did a moody one when I was working on Father. So I did do a moody one when I was working on Father. Look at how horrible that looks. And by the way, do you guys see why we want to use a smart object? Now the only way to fix this is to go back. Okay. Control Z. What I want to do is convert it to a smart object, add a mosaic filter on top of it, and now I can adjust it by double clicking on it. And it's probably gonna need to be like 5. Let's try that. Yep. Oh, so crunchy. I love it. I'm just entering play mode constantly, by the way. And you may be wondering, a lot of you are probably thinking, yes, you need a filter. You need a pixelation filter because you wouldn't get these clean lines. You can do that, or you can ship it at 4K, which I probably would. I like I like smooth, clean lines. I love 4K, even with pixelated textures. There's something really rewarding, for me personally, about looking at a very pixelated texture in 4K. However, what you can do is force it. You can force it to like 1280 by 800, right? And get that lower resolution. I think, honestly, though, the upscaling is going to be anti-aliasing. I wonder why that is. This is actually a good question for you guys. I don't know the answer to. It could be the anti-aliasing. No, the anti-aliasing is off. So I don't know. Let's try this super low resolution here. Yeah, you would. I think you're right. I think you guys are right. You'd need a low resolution filter. Otherwise, you get that there's a smoothness there that's occurring, and we don't want that. Yeah. So that's about the only filter, and this is what I was talking about earlier when it comes to like a garnish. That's like the only post-processing filter I would probably put on a low resolution game. Is just creating those crunchy edges. Yep. Okay, same thing here. Pixelate the crap out of this. I'm gonna fade out these edges. Why not? And we'll do a mosaic filter on top of it. There we go. Mosaic. There we go. There's our crunchy grass, y'all. This is why game devs, if I'm being honest, this is why game devs love making these low resolution games, because you can get this visual cohesion pretty quick with a a bunch of different textures. Let's go to our plant here, make it a smart object, or our branch here. Set it to mosaic. Save it. And look at that. Because we're using alpha clipping, it's actually a really nice, that looks really good. The Skybox is definitely not working for me. So we're going to look into that in a sec. Will this video have playback? Yes, it will. And we're also going to create a supercut from it. Looks like Halo CE. Okay, let's keep going, y'all. Hope you guys are learning a lot here. I know I am. We're kind of in this together. Like I said, I did some retro texture work back when I was working on Father, but this is a it's at least very fresh for me. That's fine. I don't love the smoothing on it, if I'm being completely honest. I kind of want to get a new texture for that. Oh, and like I said, I did this in a previous video. If something really is not, there's just a lack of visual cohesion, what you can do is just literally grab the texture from something else that you like, and you could say, you know what? I'm going to put the texture, like the black and white texture, I'm going to put it on top of something else. So what you could do is just drop the hue saturation down, set it to overlay, and look what happens. Set it to soft light. And now you get a matchy-matchy. Does that make sense? I'm so tempted to just enter play mode and explore this world, but we're not going to do that. Q Studio, I'm sorry if I missed your email. I really am. I'm sure your game is awesome, dude. There's a lot of emails. There are a lot of emails, and it's hard for me to get to them all. I promise you. Mosaic, sure. That's great. I friggin' love that. And guys, we don't even have shadows yet, or we haven't even done the lighting or anything like that. This is killing me right here. This is absolutely killing me. So let's just go ahead and mosaic this guy. Again, convert it to a smart object. Mosaic. If that's hurting your eyes and you feel like it doesn't match the grass, we're going to go to the grass and do what we did. Remember what we did? It was actually the tree bark. Yeah, let's just grab our grass. Grab this texture. And all I want to do is go to our rocks base here. Wait, what? Hang on. What was it called? This right here is super, it's super not working for me. There we go. And then we're going to take this. And because this is a 1x1 unwrap, thank God. But what I mean by that is there's no weird scaling going on. It's just 1x1. The bricks are sized properly here. I'm not going to get weird pixelation when I save this. So now it looks crunchy. Now, is this perfectly N64 standards? No, it is not. But we're mimicking it, and that's what all of this is. As an indie, we can get away with a lot of mimicry. We're like parrots. That's the best way I can describe indie devs. They're like parrots, not parasites. They're parrots. And you might think, oh man, I don't love that right there. It looks too smooth. Don't worry, we can just go in and just set it to alpha clip, and it's going to be nice, clean pixels. See that? Isn't that nice? And some of them you could go, well, that's not really working for me, so I'm going to take this and just cut this sort of drop shadow. I don't even know what it is. Cut that out, and now you're going to get a nice, clean base, right? Everything is just grass. That's right. Okay. Do you guys see why it's so important to get all of the colors done first? This right here is just too, it's just, we just need to go nuts with it here. Ugh. That's fine, I guess. It's going to be far away and it's going to have fog. Let's fix this. This is driving me crazy. So what we're going to do with this is I'm actually going to blur the base layer of this, like this, and put this on top of it. So it's faintly fading. You see that? And now I think we're ready to merge them together, crop it. I'm going to do a smart object and then set mosaic. There it is. And we're going to see how crunchy we can make this look. Pretty good. Not bad, Tommy. Not bad indeed. Hey, we got a bush on top of a rock. Okay, so far so good. So guys, we've got all of our assets except for that mountain, except for the Misty Mountain and also this back here. Not the Misty Mountain, the, what do you call it? What do you call it? Death Mountain. Except for Death Mountain. Convert this to a smart object. Pixelation filter. Now you're probably wondering, Thomas, why don't you just crunch it on up in Unity? Well, we can if we want. I could set it to like 128, right? I could turn off the bitmaps. And I can set it to point no filter. What did I just do that to? This, yeah. So it does a pretty good job, doesn't it? But instead of going in and tweaking the values in Unity, I kind of like the idea of doing it in Photoshop. That's just me. So there's different ways to do this. You could do it this way, right? Or you could do it in Unity. Now let's talk about the pros and cons. The pro of doing it in Unity is, well, you can de-res all of your textures and the game will load like that. The truth is, though, I can do that. I could do this high resolution one here, and then I can do it in Unity, and it's not going to look any different, right? If you want like artistic control over every little pixelation, then you can do it in Photoshop. But I'm letting you know, I really do want to do alpha clipping for this. I'm just going to get rid of the Misty Mountain. We can do that with a quad. We can do it with a quad. I'll show you how to do that. Misty Mountain, what's it called? There we go. Okay. I could take all this, convert it to a smart object, mosaic it. Honestly, that's probably good enough. And then let's head on out over here and take a look at it in the distance. Oh my goodness. So again, that's why we want to have all these kind of controls in our smart objects here. Yeah, there we go. There we go. This one, it's so high res, and I really don't want that. So let's crank it up a little bit. Just have all this control here. Yeah, that's why I like to do it in Photoshop. Would it be smarter, like performance-wise, to do it in Unity? Probably. But I'm going to increase the brightness as well. I just like having control over every little pixel in Photoshop. But at the end of the day, like once you're done with your assets, you can most certainly go, okay, well, let's do 128, right? But set it to point no filter, and you can do that. So now it's like 10 kilobytes, right? And it doesn't look any different. So you can do that. I just kind of like the controls in Photoshop, if I'm being completely honest. Okay, this is bothering me, this stone. This stone right here is really bugging me. Well, no wonder. It's way too high res. So let's crank it up to 6 here. There we go. Yeah, we have a lot more controls in Photoshop. Okay. Let's take a look in play mode and see how it feels. Okay, the sky is our biggest problem. Yeah, the sky is our biggest problem. It looks like 2002 is what it looks like. So let's go ahead and close out all of our textures except for the sky, which is right here. And we're going to figure this out. The posturizing didn't really help us. So I wonder, I have a theory. Okay? I have a theory that the clouds, if we make the clouds a white layer and pixelate those separately, yeah, if we pixelate these separately, my theory is, watch this. I have an idea. Okay. Bear with me. I'm going to take these clouds. Yes. I'm going to mask those out. And then I'm going to mosaic. Whoops. The ones inside. Why isn't it working? It was supposed to work. How do we make this look more? Hey, that looks good, actually. That's what we want. What are we gonna do? We're gonna figure this out together, guys. That looks good. I wonder if we could blur this, guys. Everything underneath. Like this. Pretty intense. And then do a mosaic on top of it. I wonder if that would make it look good. Maybe even do a motion blur. Let's try that. Is Thomas about to be proven? He might be. Let's see. Pixelate. Mosaic. Looks a little fuzzy, but we're getting there. Okay, we're getting there. My theory is we can add a subtle texture on top of all of it. Okay, that's a little messy. So how it was before was good. Okay. And honestly, I wonder, guys. I wonder if we just said, you know what? We'll do a faint blue, and then just fade out the parts that look a little odd. So like this. No. I wonder if that's going to help us. I have a better idea. Here's what we're going to do. This is the solution. I figured it out, guys. We're going to do blue. And then we're going to do faint sky blue here. And we're going to grab PNGs of clouds. Thomas, you genius. You genius. There we go. Grab this. Save it. Good. Okay, now we're going to grab PNGs of clouds. Got it? Let's go. 3D Printer Academy says, hi, are you nervous about Twisted Tower's launch after Cuff Busts? Well, I love Gavin. I've been talking with Gavin, and I really love Gavin. I love Gavin a lot. But yeah, that is scary. You know, I have been almost paranoid about every little detail in Twisted Tower. And so we can only hope. Cloud, I'm going to type in cloud PNG here, and we're going to grab some clouds. There we go. I found one. Yeah, I'm definitely nervous. Definitely nervous. And people love it when a YouTuber fails. They love it. They eat it up. Which I get. I'm going to save 2 of these clouds. Give me a sec here, guys. So I'm grabbing these clouds from Google. Just PNGs. PNGs. People love a YouTuber who fails, and that's okay. Where did the clouds go? I just saved them, and now they're gone. Oh, man, that's so frustrating. Yeah, of course. Gavin will, of course, bounce back. 1,000%. He, truth is Gavin knows more about game dev than we do now. Because he just went through probably a very difficult month and a half. Yeah. He probably went through a very difficult month and a half. So for some reason, I'm only able to like download one of these clouds. I don't know why. So yeah. Okay, here's my thought process here, guys, with this Skybox. My thought process is if we pixelate an actual cloud, let's crank up the contrast though. My theory is if we pixelate an actual cloud, this, it will feel more realistic, or feel more retro, but also cohesive. So let's try that. I'm gonna do one here and just take a look. I'm gonna crank the size of it down, and then I'm gonna crank the mosaic scale of it down to like 3 and see if that does it for us. Nope. Dang it, Tom. Thomas, what are you doing, dude? Yeah, I'm rooting for him too. I don't ever want to see a game developer have a rough launch. It's just not something I want to see. You know? I don't want it. People love to like revel in YouTubers failing because YouTubers give advice and they give these, like I give plans and I tell people how to do stuff and I give them my best guess on, let's say, a good process or a good blueprint or a trick or how to do stuff, just stuff that I've learned. So I put my stuff out there and people, if it doesn't work for them, they want you to fail. Hey, that looks much better. That was great. Yeah, the people love to see YouTubers fail. That doesn't mean all YouTubers are right. Plenty of YouTubers do things wrong. But, like, for example, let's say Pirate Software was wrong about how he did things. That guy got raked over the coals. People were thrilled to do it. And everybody was so excited to make a video about him and get a bunch of views. It's just like dunking on somebody is so profitable. And that's not to say like he didn't do things. I didn't even really follow it. I was just like, man, people love to dunk. So, hey, let's see here. I think we need a little bit of like texture underneath, just a subtle texture underneath it. But overall, that's kind of the idea here, right? Okay, so let me just go ahead and get it all worked up here. Why do people love to see YouTubers fail? Because YouTubers YouTubers give advice, they get famous, they make money, and it's nice to feel like, see, I knew it. I knew this guy was full of crap. They love that. I get it. Have you ever had a friend who was like really successful and you were happy for him, but deep down you were like, there's no way that they're doing this on their own. You know, there's no way. And so when they fail, there's a part of you, a little demonic part of you that's like happy about it because now you're like vindicated or something. So that's the reason why. This is great. I think this is fine. What I want to do is take the one underneath it, and I'm just going to duplicate it and put it on top and just make it this sort of subtle texture. Very subtle texture. Now that's just a mess. Give me a second. This skybox is bothering me. Kind of want to just get rid of it. No. Here we go. Did it look better earlier, guys? Up there, I'm going to remove that. All right. These are a little much. Save it. Good. So it feels a little cold. So I'm going to warm it up by making the horizon a little bit warmer. And then obviously we're going to add fog and do all that sorts of cool stuff here. Yeah, I feel like the skybox is just not working for me. Give me a sec, guys. I'm going to figure this out. We will figure it out. I think it's because it's just too big. So I'm going to keep this as a backup. And then I'm going to rasterize this. And we're going to make it smaller. And then flip it. Skyboxes are one of those things you just got to be careful about. I'm going to add a little bit of darkness here to the top. I'm going to save that and see if that helps. It does. Okay, good. And then I'm going to make sure there's something going on up there. So the way you can do that is you can just take this and just go up here. Just do something like that. There we go. Just fade out the bottom and the top. And then we're going to transform, flip horizontal. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to squash it a little bit. Okay. That's pretty dang good, guys. I'm going to squash it, though, some more, though. And then I'm going to set it to overlay, so we're not getting a hue shift. Convert that to a smart object. You got to make sure it's set to lighten, though. There we go. And then we can just fade out little pieces of it. So, for example, like this. There we go. Okay. That's it. That's how it's done. We're going to keep going up, though. We're going to keep going up. One more. Make it a little bit smaller so it looks like it's higher up. Now, believe me, I understand that my skybox looks like it's circling around the environment. I don't hate that, to be honest. So I really don't mind that. That's great, man. Let's warm up the horizon, though. It's totally fine to do a colorize here. We just want to warm up that horizon like this. Crank up the brightness. Very, very good. Okay. Pixelated trees, pixelated ground. What am I missing? What am I missing? Well, fog and lighting. All right, fog and lighting. And then obviously the terrain. We want to make the terrain. We want to shape the terrain. It's not that the sky's too dark, is it? I think it's because it's like not saturated enough. So yeah, it's like it's gloomy. There is something going on with that sky, and I don't know what it is, and I cannot put a finger on it. Good. Was that what it was? Thank you so much. All right. I think that's good, my friends. It looks a lot better. Thank God. Good job. That was Juvie Dev. Juvie Dev, way to go. Brilliant work. Sky was just too dark, and it was. Okay, I think we're ready to do lighting and fog. Now, do N64 games have lighting? No. Not in the real-time shadows. Does everything cast a real-time shadow? No. But let's turn on some fog first. We're going to use exponential, right? And we're going to do 0.1. How about 0.05? We're going to feel that out. Enter play mode, just feel it out. You'll notice I enter play mode a lot. I like to try and feel things out. Good. We can turn on the sound so you guys can hear the sound of footsteps. I wonder why I can't hear the sound of footsteps. It's odd. Oh, that texture's not in the sound manager. We'll add it in a sec. Okay. The sky is still a little bit high res, honestly. So what we're going to do, we're going to convert all of it to a smart object, and we're going to do one more mosaic filter. And what we're going to do is paint out certain parts of it. Like this right here, it looked good the way it was. Save it and take a look. There's part of me that's like, let's just do a faint overlay of high pixelation. We'll see if that works. I don't know. Let's duplicate that. And why is that happening? What is happening? Okay, here's what we're going to do. Delete, duplicate, mosaic, 5, 7. There we go. All right. And we're just going to set it to tile properly, or mirror properly there. But the fog looks good. We can do lighting here in a sec. Let's go ahead and convert that to a smart object. And all I got to do is take this, transform, flip horizontal, and fade out this side. There we go. So it should be perfect. Good, it is. All right, let's go ahead and work on our lighting here. Directional light. Now I'm going to do something, and I'm going to do soft shadows, or we can do hard shadows, right? Like that, so that everything's crisp. Okay. Is this era appropriate? Probably not. Not at all. But I like it. We're going to have this cast shadows, right? For some reason, I wonder why. Let's figure this out. Why can it not cast shadows? For example, that's interesting. Why is it not casting shadows? Why? Why is that not casting shadows? I'm not going to worry about it, because I'll probably figure it out randomly. Okay, guys. We haven't even done the level design yet, right? But now we have shadows, right? With shadows being cast. We have a pixelated sky. Do I have to see a seam? No, there's no seam. I thought there was a seam. There it is. No, there's not a seam there. Okay. Let's think here. Are we ready to do the terrain? And I think we are. All right. Hey, this water, I need to double check it really quick. So the tiling is set to 0.05. I'm going to set this one to, well, because it's rotated, you should be getting a cool effect. Let's double check. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Okay. That wall we're not going to use. Okay. We're just not going to use that right now. Okay. Are you guys ready to do some level design work? Now, all of these assets that we have here, okay, we're not going to use these right now in our terrain creation. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, Thomas, make them a paint, like a paintbrush, so that you can just paint the terrain, like the stone and stuff. I don't like doing it that way because I like to be able to have a lot of control. I like to have a lot of control over my the size of objects. I like to be able to select objects and nudge them over and move them. Painting stuff on terrain, like painting trees on terrain, painting stones on terrain, is not for me. It's just not for me. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these assets, okay? I'm going to put them in a folder right now, or a game object. I'm going to call these assets. Just so I know where they are, I'm going to disable them. Now, let's go ahead and create some really cool terrain. I've set my pixel error to 200. And I'm sure there's a variety of different ways to do this. This is just my way of doing it for this live stream. Setting it really high, I think, is how you get it to be really low resolution. But we're going to take a look and see. Let's go ahead and just paint the terrain green. And just like in Zelda, we're going to set the height here for the center. Going to do a nice punch upward. Something like this. That's set height. Let's raise height. I'm going to turn off the lighting and the fog. And we're going to raise me up. Raise. Did it do it? I can't really see it. It didn't do it. Yes, it did. We're good. It raised it up. So we're going to do that. Maybe even go a little bit more right here to make it feel natural. And then, honestly, we need to go pretty high. You just don't want it to be like a pimple. You want it to be nice and smooth and natural. We'll raise up the edges as well. And remember, we're going to add a ring of mountains around it, just like in Zelda. Now, I'm unsure if this terrain is going to be big enough, but we shall see. But you can see how it has like a low what am I saying? You can see how it has like a low resolution to it, like this. See, the edges are very rigid. Not a lot of polys. Sorry, I'll get that. One sec. So let's see how it looks with lighting. So you guys can see why terrain is so important, right? It just makes things look so interesting. It creates this really interesting appeal. Dun dun do 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 bum bum ba da ba da ba bum 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 ba 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 bum. We're gonna smooth the height. This is a little low. Actually, let's go back to raise and lower terrain. All right, let's feel it out. Don't underestimate the value of feeling it out. Enter play mode and just feel it. This actually feels pretty good. So this will take us up to the ranch, right? All right, let's go ahead and add our pathing. One of the ways you can do this is enter top view, go to paint texture. It helps to have lighting on so you can see kind of the topology a little bit. This is our dirt. And let's see here. My theory is we need to go pretty small. Pretty opaque and pretty small. Here's what we need to do. We're going to go broad and soft first. Okay. And we're going to have a path, broad and faint. We're going to have a path that wraps around the mountain. Right? And in Zelda, you have all these cool little connected paths, right? And we'll push the terrain down here. These are going to be really big, okay? And that's because we just need this sort of faint texture underneath that's going to be the dirt. I may use that stone as a cobblestone. But I'm going to enter play mode here, and I'm going to drop from very high. And we're going to see if that's wide enough. Oh, I just died. I thought I got rid of fall death. Hang on. All right. Whoa. Get out of isometric mode. Yeah, if I enter play mode here, that does look like about the size of the soft portion of the path. We want a soft portion, and then we want a strict piece. a cobblestone that's more contrasty running through the center of this. Okay. So here's our path. You know, again, it's too big. So we're going to go a little bit sharper with a new texture. But let's really quickly here. Let's think here. I kind of wish... it's fine. It's not going to be perfect. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to soften up the pathing that we just created just by doing this. Very gentle. Hang on. It's a little too much. Because we're going to use... Give me just a sec, guys. There we go. A very gentle pathing. That way we can go to our cobblestone. Let me just do this really quick, actually. Oh, gosh. Why is it doing that? Something happened with the splat. Yeah, I don't love that. Just trying to get it looking more faint. And then we're going to go in and add that cobblestone. Yeah. Yeah, that looks pretty natural, doesn't it? Okay. Now is this again, for the millionth time, is this retro? Is this how they did it back in the day? No. It was probably done with a tool similar to Pro Builder, right? Very, very generic. But let's see if that dirt made it feel, yeah. Yeah, because we're going to add a path on top of this, so you want it to have this crunchy, it's like the grass is dying near the road. Does that make sense? Okay, let's go ahead and add that cobblestone. So what I'm going to do is just do this. Grab my opacity. I'm going to do this little brush here. All right. And I'm just going to create this cobblestone path. The texture's probably not going to work for us, right? It's probably not going to be the one we want. So we're going to adjust it. Yeah, there we go. We're going to adjust it. Almost there, guys. And then we'll start doing some set decoration and putting a castle around and some trees. Alrighty. Let's try that and see how it feels. And then we can push it down as well. Yeah, we'll lower the terrain here to make it feel more like a path that's cut into the ground. Yeah, so that feels actually really good right here. Actually really like that. And in fact, boy, that's kind of the nature of this hill, isn't it? The stone is going to start cutting through the grass. But let's go ahead and add a little bit more here. Increase that brush opacity. Go to top view here. And you notice that it's kind of just cutting through there. Does that make sense why I'm doing it this way, guys? You wanted to sort of cut through and look like the grass has peeled away and then the dirt has peeled away. It probably will look better with a cobblestone texture. Right now it looks like the mountain is cutting through. We really want it to be like a cobblestone path that was laid, right? There we go. All right, let's go ahead and find a cobblestone texture that we can use for this. Cobblestone texture. Found one. All right. Let's try that. And again, we want to match our color. I'm just going to do it here. We'll colorize in this case. I'm breaking some of my own rules here. A little bit more green, and then crank up the contrast. All right, we're going to see if this does the trick, okay? We'll reduce the saturation just a tad. All right, you guys ready? Let's take a look. Yeah, that's probably going to do it for us, guys. Let's hit play and take a look. Now the assets, the trees, and the trees and the rocks are going to make it feel like I'm not in some ginormous... It looks like I'm like a roach crawling around on this. And my hope is that the trees really help with that. Giving some relative scale, if that makes sense. Very good. Okay, so the cobblestone, we're going to do 15 by 15. And again, I'm going to go in and make it a little bit more exaggerated, because right now it's just so faint. And guys, you want to make sure you're doing your terrain first before you start set dressing. In a way, it's kind of like a gray box, you know. Sort of designing your level first. Let's crank up the opacity. Let's just go for it. There we go. No, you don't want it to be 100. Then it'll just like you literally did a brush. Just you want it to be gentle. especially trying to recreate that retro vibe. You don't want it to be too obvious that it's a splat map. You know, honestly, texture painting like this or terrain painting like this is tough. You're trying to make it feel realistic with a silly little splat map, you know. Okay, I think that's all we want to do here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and raise and lower terrain here. It's going to be a pain in the butt, but we're going to do it. So that's how strong the raise is. Let's see. Okay, there's the strength of the raise. Okay. You got to be very gentle here. Yeah. Okay. Brush size. Okay, we're going to practice this and we're going to jump down here and take a look at this. Yeah, that brush size is too... This is like the hardest part, honestly. I don't know why I can't see it. That's what's so weird. I think it's because of the pixel error. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I got it. I figured it out. We need to go to set our pixel error to be normal. That way we can go in and paint and see from a distance. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Reduce the opacity here. This is such a gentle, careful, sort of surgical art here. There we go. And we'll smooth all this out. Gotta be so careful. But you want it to just cut into the ground. As if it's just been trodden on for 1,000 years by horses. Okay. I'm not going to do anything with this yet. I'm going to enter play mode. I'm going to see how it feels. If it feels good, we might just keep it as is. I was thinking we might need to smooth it, but I think we're okay. That feels good. Yeah. Hey, it's not the perfect path, but it's fine for my live stream. Okay. Next up, ladies and gents. Actually, let's smooth this just a little bit here. That's a little much. Okay. Smooth it, smooth it, smooth it, smooth it. There we go. All right. Remember those assets we had, guys? What I'm going to do is move them over here. This is going to be our little asset bin. Okay. And let's go ahead, and the first thing we're going to do is let's just put the tower in the center and create some kind of castle motif in the middle, okay? Just a little castle motif sitting at the top here. And I'm just going to create an interesting castle, and then we'll surround it with like walls or something. So let's see if that's big enough. I'm going to speed up my camera. So yeah, could probably do a little bit of a castle motif like this. And the cool thing about using all these assets is we can, in the modern age, we can get away with just clipping through the ground. It's totally fine. That's what I do all the time with my own games. So it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba-da-bum-bum-bum-bum. All right. Probably a little bit too much fidelity here, honestly. Set it to 15 by 15. Let's take this, the mountain. We're going to bring it up here. Just like this. We probably could make it a little bit bigger, honestly. Yeah. Put it right here. Okay. I'm going to take these guys. This is going to be a pain in the butt, okay? But I'm going to take these little walls. And honestly, what I'm going to do with this is I'm actually going to put stone trim on this. There we go. That's what I'm going to do with these. That's exactly what I'm going to do. And this is not a fence. This is a stone wall billboard. And we're going to start putting these all around the map. But we want to make sure they're big enough. So the way we look is we go, and this is going to be way too big, so we need to put that in at a distance there. There we go. The way we're going to check and see if this works is just enter play mode and take a look at that spot. Yeah, that's going to work just fine. Okay, we're going to wrap the whole frickin' level. So the way we do that is paste. And because I'm doing it this way, guys, you could do it in Blender. You could do this with Pro Builder. I'm doing it this way because I wanted to do a video where we do no modeling, okay? We're going to create angled pieces in a sec, but right now, all I want to do is this, okay? So first off, what we're going to do is angle this down, angle that down, and we're going to keep that kind of straight. I can hold V and click, and click and drag, and it'll snap down. Is this the optimal way to do this? Not at all. You should do this with Pro Builder. You should create a nice, clean framed wall with Pro Builder. A mesh is what I mean. I'm going to bring this piece up like this. No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. That's good. And then I can take these guys. And actually, let's continue all the way around. And I can take all of these stone wall pieces, save, and I can actually rotate this like that, and then this like this. And we're just going to copy and paste this as an entire piece and just create a circle, basically. I have never done this. I've never done this method before, so we'll see if it works. We're going to create a game object out of it. Stone wall curve group. Put it in the prefabs here. And I'm going to just rotate it 90 degrees. Good. We could probably do the same thing, guys. We'll adjust the terrain accordingly. Okay, we're going to delete this piece, and move that here. And then this one we're going to move here. We're getting there. So this is the what's going to frame the land, right? And we'll create a bottom layer as well. But yeah, I think this could work, honestly. Now connecting them is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt, I will say. I wonder if we could rotate this like that, you know, and connect it here, and then put a big fat boulder right there, which I think is what I'm going to do. Yeah. All right. There we go. Yeah, we'll put a little plateau piece there. And honestly, we'll just raise up the terrain over here. If we could, let's do this. We're going to shift it over like this. Yeah. And I think that'll do. And then we'll just raise up the terrain on each side. Or we could rotate it, couldn't we? But the problem with that is that you would then get a rotated angled wall, which we don't really want, like, because the player might be able to climb up it. But we could just do this, you know, and call it a day. And just clean up that over there. But let's think here. This is why you definitely want to do it with Pro Builder. I'm so tempted to use Pro Builder. Should we use Pro Builder? I'm so tempted. Let's not do any modeling though. Let's keep it without any modeling. That's the goal, okay? Almost there. We're just going to do some minor rotation adjustments here. I know. We're so close. We'll clean that up, clean that up, clean that up. This. What is happening here? This was honestly the part I was dreading, because it's so hard to do without models. And you're going to get Z fighting. Oh, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay, that's pretty good, actually. I don't think that's terrible. I don't like that there's a path right there, so let's just clean that up. There we go. All right, we'll lower the terrain here. Smooth it here. This might be a great spot for that mountain. You know, this one right here. It's all smoke and mirrors, ladies and gentlemen. Smoke and mirrors. All right. There we go. So I think this hill is a little high, if I'm being honest. I might lower it a little bit. Let's raise the terrain here. Oh, and we need to turn on the pixel error. There we go. It's nice and crispy and crunchy, right? So let's take a look and see if this framing is working for us, right? This, I wonder, is it possible to get it perfect, you know? It would be wonderful if I could. And just maybe we could clip it through and just call it a day, you know? Something like this. So we could take this piece here, rotate it. Yeah. This you definitely want to use Pro Builder for this. This is a pain. You definitely want to use Pro Builder for this. Or Blender, for that matter. You know, I don't care what you use. You just got to use a modeling tool. This is just too stupid. You know, this is a stupid way to do it. But we're just going to pretend that it's not. And honestly, it looks pretty good. Let's enter play mode here. Take a look. This feels like Majora's Mask when you're on the moon. That's not bad. This is pretty good. That's pretty good. Wouldn't you say, Jason? I feel like that's pretty good. Okay, we have some clipping issues. This right here is just nuts. We want to lower the terrain right here so it feels natural. There we go. Increase the camera speed. It's driving me crazy. Oh, look at that. And we'll lower it here as well. Look for any issues. That's not perfect, but it's fine for now. For purposes of this stream, it's fine. And then let's go ahead and smooth it. Opacity. Smooth it out. Okay. Brilliant. Let's save it. Enter play mode here. Take a look. Yep, plenty of Z fighting. But hopefully you guys get the idea here. How to frame in a scene here. This hill's too tall. So we're going to take this hill. And we're going to just do a quick lower. Gotta be careful. You don't want it to mess with the edges there. Okay. There we go. Alrighty. Got our castle. This right here is a problem. Good deal. We're close. We're close, guys. We can start doing trees and stuff. Yeah, that's such a problem. But for the purposes of today's tutorial, that is fine. Oh no, I'm not starting a new project, Jason. I'm about to jump right back into Twisted Tower tomorrow morning. Just wanted to do this video for you guys. Okay, good deal. We got a mountain over here. It's super low. So we're going to raise it up. We definitely want like trees to surround this. So I'm going to do that really quick. I'm going to create a tree quad, like a forest quad. So I'm going to duplicate this mountain billboard here, and I'm going to call it forest billboard. Okay, and then I'm just going to go to Google, and we're going to type in forest silhouette. All right. That's it. Actually, no. Forest PNG. And all we want... Yeah, just some pine trees. Oh, goody. I found one that's a PNG. Okie dokie. Open that up in Photoshop. And it's going to be pretty big. We're going to do something like this. And I'm going to go ahead and mosaic it. Not that much. We're going to make a smart object out of it. We're going to mosaic it. Hue, saturation. Remember, it's kind of like greenish or yellowy green. Go into Photoshop or Unity here. And I'm just going to make some tree graphics here. This is going to be a tree line billboard. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to take our mountain billboard, going to create a tree line billboard. Yep. There it is. And now we could frame it in so it doesn't feel so like a deserted desert, you know? Just all these different tree graphics here that we can do. Probably gonna make it so that it's nice and rounded so that you don't have that piece there. Yeah, let's do that. You just literally just do this. And the mosaic will make it look good. Yeah. Scale it up a little. There we go. Again, this is why I love pixelated art. You can get away with a lot of stuff here. Tree line in the background. It's just a bunch of quads. We shall see. Give me just a sec here. We'll see if this actually looks any good. I think it will. I think it will, honestly. I think this is definitely necessary. And we'll clean up that artwork so it's not so pixelated. That's ridiculous right now. It's like super messy. But yeah, give me just a sec here. I'll wrap the property here. The property. I'll wrap the frame here. Or the scene. And, you know, some of it you don't really need, I don't think. Like maybe like right here, we can sort of go out, sort of fade out here. All right, let's go back into Photoshop here. That mosaic is insane. There we go. Probably want to do higher. There we go. Scale it up, fade it out at the top there. This is the one thing where I'm thinking, you know what? We're going to have to do transparent as opposed to clipping because I want it to blur a little bit. Yeah. We're just gonna have to break some rules, y'all, if that's okay. Some of them flip the x-axis. Maybe this one and this one and this one. There we go. All right, let's enter play mode. Take a look. Brilliant. Some of them need to be raised up. Trees grow in what Bob Ross says in families, right? And so if it feels like they're spread out too much, you want to sort of group them together a little bit more, like that. Honestly, I just feel like we need to just go smaller, right? Yeah. So we have our tree line here. We're going to raise me up. It's still, hey. That still feels a little, this is what game devs always do. The game devs always assume that they've made enough trees. That's enough. You know, I don't need to do any more. When in reality, you haven't. Okay, you haven't. You need to keep doing more layers and then raise it up. You want it to feel like you're just surrounded by all these beautiful trees. And we're going to have to be tricky here. Oh, come on, dude. I wish the fog was a little bit more dense. Now, what's it look like without that? Okay, there's that one. That one. If we raised it up like that, we may be able to get away with this. Yeah, look, we're getting layering now. Parallaxing. That's exactly what we want. We're going to take these, though, right here. These right here. And raise some of these guys up. In addition, we'll raise this one up as well. All right. This is one here, and we're just creating a parallaxing effect. That's just too pixelated. We're going to set it to a value of 4. 4. 4. 4. There we go. All right, let's see if that looks better. Okie dokie. Save the scene, enter play mode. We're going to start adding some rocks. It's a little blurry looking. It drives me crazy. Thomas, stop it. You're getting too picky. Do I want it to be alpha clipped? I kind of do. I kind of do. And then we'll just change the color to be like a white faint blue to match the horizon. Yeah. Yeah. And that over there, those look really PC. This right here. Those look really PC. All right. Hey, pretty good, huh? That looks awesome. I don't like that tower, actually. I don't know why. I can't put a finger on why, but we'll figure it out as we continue to work. Da 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 da. There's our tree. Remember, guys, trees grow in groups. You know, if there's anything that I don't mind painting, it's going to be these trees. I think we're going to paint these trees. What was it called? Tree 01B. Add tree. Tree, was it 01B? It was. The tree OB1 cannot interact because the prefab contains no valid mesh renderer. Really? It's right there. What's the problem here, guys? Is it the collider? I think it's the collider. I think you have to have a collider. I don't use this terrain aspect anyway, so that's probably the problem here. I don't use this tool, is what I mean. Tree 01B couldn't be instanced because the prefab contains no valid mesh renderer. I think it's this. I think we need to do boom. Whoops. Is it maybe it's the LOD. Maybe it has an LOD. It says, hey, what's going on? Maybe you need an LOD. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I think that might be it, honestly. There it is. Okay, so you need an LOD or a mesh renderer on the parent. Okay, so now I'm totally fine with this because it saves us more time than, well, the other way. But the stones, I don't know if I'm going to paint stones. Are these trees too big? Let's vary the tree height. Less is more, my friends, with trees. I've always found that to be true. And you want to put them in little families. What? Oh yeah, baby. You definitely want to use you definitely want to group your trees. Guys, this is so important. Please write this down in your brain. That versus this. right? That makes sense? You want to group your trees. There we go. That's a little weird right here. And overall, I think that it looks pretty good. Okay, let's take a look. These are too small. You just want to look around and say, you know what? That doesn't really, for some reason, that's not making sense, you know? Your brain will tell you, you know, that's not making sense. We need a big one over here. There we go. That's not making sense for me. These leaves, I think these leaves, see, this is why I don't like, you can't select it. I wish you could. Honestly, I wish you could. But you can't. You can't select it. But this alpha clipping is driving me crazy. Yeah, let's make them nice and dense. There we go. Oh, baby. So much better. All right. Let's enter play mode. That castle is driving me crazy. It looks like crap. There might be too many trees. I think there might be too many trees. And those leaves might be too high res. We're going to figure out why these trees are bothering me. I think it's the fog as well. I think we just need more fog. Those bother me. It might be the draw distance. I don't know. Look at that. One of these is floating for some reason. All right, why are they bothering me? They're bothering me. I don't know why. Something's bothering me. All right, so we have a big fat rock here. Rocks, this is different, guys. Rocks are different. I don't want to paint the rocks because I like to have complete control over their rotation. I like to reposition them. I'm going to do just a little watchtower. That's all we're going to do here. And maybe even put like a little flag on it or something. But rocks are your best friend with terrain because you can just put them all over the place. And you could like solve a lot of mesh issues. This is why outdoor games are so much easier to make, in my opinion, than indoor games. Like Twisted Tower is an indoor game, and it's brutal because every little vertice matters. Whereas with this, you can get away with all sorts of crap. We could even do something like this, like a big fat one, and just do like that. I just feel like this needs to be really tall, you know? Maybe we do 13 by 13 by 13. We'll do like some kind of weird. Yeah. We're going to figure it out. We always do. Then you could put some like on the ground like this. Right? Put one in the middle right here. Honestly, I'm just going to use this one rock. Okay. You could put them on the walls over here, you know? I could say, you know what? Put one over here. Why not? So we're just creating, let me save it. We're just adding a little bit of fidelity to make it feel like all of this stuff is natural, you know? Like that, cleaning up the clipping there. This stone needs to be more brown, doesn't it? Well, now you know, Tom. We're going to just do it here. Here we go. Yeah, baby. Let's enter play mode to make sure we're on the right track. This is always important. This is so annoying and it's bothering me. It just needs to be big. It needs to be like this. No, but it can't do that. It's just an ugly asset. And we're going to remove it. It's an ugly asset. It's very ugly. It looks cheap. Because we're on a time crunch here, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can make a really tall flagpole. Like this. I know. Sorry, guys. It's just, I got to do a lot. And I got to make this work. We're just going to do a little tiny flagpole here. Up through the center. And we'll put a flag there when we're done. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I kind of think, honestly, I think I know what's wrong with the trees. I feel like we don't want to use clipping. You know? You want that fuzzy look. I could be wrong. We shall see. Well, the castle in Hyrule Field is over here. We just need to make that more brown to match it. Those look pretty good. We're just getting some really strange Z fighting. So I think ultimately we want to do that. I mean, that does look kind of cool. I just don't like how it looks with a long draw distance. It really bothers me. But yeah. Okay. Let's see here. What would we do here? Well, let's go ahead and we're going to use Pro Builder one more time. Okay, watch this. I'm going to create a cube here. Bring it over here. Why isn't it moving? There we go. Okay, this is going to be our flag. Okay, I'm going to take that. Do you guys remember the that red color we had? We can use that to create a pop-up color here for this flag. Now, what I can do, because I'm using Pro Builder, is I can open up Pro Builder here, and then I can collapse these vertices. Or if I really wanted to, for example, I could do this. I could do, this is where we barely do modeling, okay? We're going to insert an edge loop here. We're going to insert an edge loop here. Insert an edge loop here. Yeah. Is that? Yeah, collapse these vertices. Collapse these vertices. Collapse these vertices. And then boom, there we go. All right. We'll scale these down a little bit. Yeah. Scale these down just a tad. Scale globally. Nice and clean. These we can, there we go, guys. All right, remember that red color? We're going to go into, I'm breaking my own rules here, guys, but I can remember the color I chose. There we go. Save as, and we're just going to go call this flag. And again, we could take a texture, an ugly texture, and just put it on top. And it's just going to look texturized. Going to have a subtle little texture to it. Nothing crazy. All right, let's go ahead and throw on that red flag color. And bro, we got a flag. Little things that matter most. It's the little things that matter most. Okay, we're gonna do this. Bro, look at that. Very good, very, very good. Yep, so I think the grass is a little bit too big now. That might be actually why the tree branches bother me so much. And also the color of this needs to be a little bit, just a subtle red added to it. Good, 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 good. And let's think here. Go back to our branches. Bruh. My kids say bruh all the time. Bruh. Oh, the trees are bothering me. Like that right there bugs me so much. I may just do one. Like one little one. Look at that. I hate that. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do less trees. And also, they're not, yeah. They're too bright. Are they not lit? Are they not lit? No, they're lit. Something is going on with them, though. Bruh. So we're going to darken them. Okay, just darken them. That's one thing we can try. They're just not working for me. And we'll do some erasing. Is it the rotation? No, they're all rotated properly. Yeah, there's rotation. I cannot put a finger on why the trees are bothering me so. I think there's just too many. We have not done the and let's increase the draw distance for our shadows. Let me do this in the URP. Max draw distance is going to be 300. How about 500? There we go. That looks so much better already. And then the fog, I think the fog is fine. Let's go ahead and go to our paint. And by the way, we are officially in that phase where you're just sort of playing and you're thinking through stuff. Just cleaning it up, cleaning it up, cleaning it up, cleaning it up. Just playing around, seeing what works. Yeah, what I'm doing here is adding just subtle changes so that the tiling isn't so aggressive. Like little patches of dirt here and there. There we go. I can do one here. I can grab this little brush here and just create little patches so it's not so obvious. See that? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Stones look good. Shadows look good. Okay. Next up, what did we have? Oh, we had fences. Right? We had these cool little fences here. Let's put one here. Y'all, these little things matter, man. Fences are a pain in the butt, by the way. Use the hold V, though, to snap them together. But every little rotation will change that. Fence, 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 fence. There we go. I'm going to create a fence group now. So I can just copy and paste this stuff. Brilliant. I'm having a blast, guys. Has this been helpful to you guys at all? Hope you're learning something. Hope you guys have learned something. But I'm pleased with this. I think it's turned out really cool. I can delete this one here. And look, you know, you can even make them sort of broken and separated like this. That's not really how fences work right here. So what we need to do is come on up here. I think that's all we have time for with the fences. I don't want to go too crazy. Obviously, we could set dress this entire thing, you know, but we need to go ahead and add in all the other stuff we have, like, oh my goodness, we got bushes. This we can definitely paint. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is go into the bush here. We're gonna do an LOD. Add our renderers. Really, we don't need these. We just need one LOD. It'll call out pretty far away. And we're going to add in a renderer here and a renderer here. That's it. Now we can actually paint these, right? So let's go back to our terrain. We can start painting these all over the place. Add tree. What's it called? Bush. Add. And yeah, oh bro, that's a lot. You see what I'm saying? You just want to get your colors right, and you want to texture stuff. And that's about it. You know, really good texturing. Well, let's be honest, there's a lot we covered here today. These trees, they make a big difference. These bushes make a big difference, though. Like, for example, you can just break up the ground like that. And honestly, it's kind of acting like grass. But yeah, you can just break up the ground and the edges of stuff. You see? I know what the problem is. It's the texture. It's the texture of those branches. Let me show you. I love the way these bushes look. And in fact, we haven't even added a mosaic to them. We need to mosaic these. Let me do this really quick here. Blur, I'm sorry, mosaic. There we go. I'm going to take this texture here, rasterize it. I'm going to put it on these frickin' trees. That's what I'm going to do. Here we go. Edit tree. Open it up. We're going to open up the texture that the tree branches are on. There's like no texture on these branches. So they're really basic. I think that's the problem. I think it's really bothering me. So let's try that. That looks so much better. Yes. So much better. And we're going to crank up the contrast so that the highlights pop more. Here we go. There it is, baby. And those bushes, by the way, you see that clipping going on? That's because... Wait. Son of a bee. I don't know where that texture is. One sec. The problem, I wish you could just select it, but you have to go to edit. Because I don't make games with I I don't use like really good folder hierarchy. So the way I select assets and find textures is just going into the scene and clicking on stuff and double clicking. So the problem with the terrain tool is that you can't select the trees. And I get it. I think I understand why that's the case. But we're going to set this to clamp so that we're not getting that. Why are we getting that? Hang on. Oh my. Yeah, so there's a little bit of a white piece left over on these bushes. Yeah. There we go. All right, that's all we need to do. And we want to make sure that this is set to remove the... There we go, that's good. Yeah, we just want to remove the map behind it. All right, let's take a look. Always entering play mode, right? Always entering play mode. The texturing on that, that's what it is. It's this. I hate the texturing. I'm going to just add some crunch to it, right? All right, so we have this. That's good. It's better, actually, already. That may have been the problem. It was just too blurry. But, I mean, if we really wanted to, we could add crunch to it, right? So here's what I mean. I could take this and just crunch it up. The bush. Use the freaking bush to add crunch to it. Where is it? Screen? Nah, I'm not going to worry about it. It's a whole other thing. Okay. Sweet. So far, so good. I'm trying to think of any other things we need to add to this scene. Let's see here. I'm thinking about a good shot here. Like a good shot for a thumbnail. Or like a screenshot, you know. So what I'm going to do here is grab this. And I'm going to put the mountain behind the tower. Ooh, ah. Right? Yeah, it was just the flat muddiness of it. And then we're going to push it away. So it's a little bit more foggy and behind the trees. All these other crappy assets here we're going to delete. Oh, the water. I forgot about the freaking water. Oh, this is going to be so great. All right, ready, guys? We can do a... Let's see, where's the... Totally forgot about the water. Where am I? Oh, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put water over here. And there was actually a river on this side of Lake or Hyrule Field. So we can do this. Isn't that cool how it just fills in, right? We could scale it up a little bit. Honestly, why not? And then we'll just increase the tiling size of it. There we go. So for now, what I'm going to do is actually make it even tiling. So just pull it back all the way over there. And I'm going to move this terrain down so that we have a nice little lake over here. Do you see? Raise it here. There we go. And then lower it here. All right, and those trees we can remove. You could, if you wanted to, you could do like one right there maybe. And I don't really think we need to, honestly. You could create some depth though and have it back there, but a river or a pond there. Pretty cool. I'm going to increase the tiling of it though, like 15 by 15. We need a little bit of we need like a rock right there. We'll do a little rock here. there. All right, let's take a look. Yeah, let's throw a PSX filter all over it. Yeah, so I would say I feel like I'm really low to the ground. So I think we need to increase the player height. I think that's really what we should do. So let's see if we can solve that with my FPS controller. I usually have a script on here where I can control the base shoulder offset standing. There we go. That feels so much better already. So it's not the size of objects necessarily. It can also be the shoulder height, you know? Okay, so I'll do that really quick here. I think we can get away with a hue shift for the sky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift the sky to go navy. Dare I say, I don't ever use navy, but there you freaking go again, Thomas. You did it. You were right. That feels so much more 90s anyway. Thomas is winning. Thomas is winning. It's feeling great. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go to our FPS controller. And let's go to our camera controller. This is way more complicated than it looks, guys. Or way less complicated than what this is a bunch of UI stuff for Twisted Tower. Because this is my whole system that we built for the game. All I'm doing here is increasing the height of the camera. I just have to do it with my script. Don't think that you need all this crap. You don't need all this crap. Camera controller, shoulder offset go to. Shoulder offset standing, we're going to set that to 1 and see if that solves it for us. Did that solve it? Didn't. Son of a bee. Yeah, we just need to get higher up here. Let's see if we can solve it in play mode and capture the values. Give me just a sec here, guys. Why is my camera not... There it is. Okay. I love to do this with you guys. I'm having so much fun. This is a lot of fun today. It has been a lot of fun. Okay. Shoulder offset go to. Yeah, something like 3.39. If I crouch, it screws it up. 3. 3. 3. How about 4? 4. Crouch reduction, 1. Sorry, these are just this whole script associated with Twisted Tower, where it's what allows for crouching and stuff. Mother F. I haven't touched this in a long time. Good grief. It's resetting my values. I don't know why either. But what we can do for the final version, or I could just scale up my character controller. What happens if I just set this to 2x2x2? I get completely screwed up. Here, 1 sec. 1x1x1. So I just want to figure out how to do this really quick, guys, so that we can make it look really pretty while we're working. Yeah, we'll just set it to 2. That's all we needed. Okay. Or maybe like 1.5. Okay, let's make the skybox rotate after we do that. We're going to set this to 1.7 by 1.7 by 1.7. Okay. Skybox, we're going to make it rotate using a script that's already in the scene. It's called rotate Skybox. We can set it to 0.6. Hit play and see if that works. Yeah, let's set it to 1. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, let's go look at the water really quick, make sure it looks good. We could probably crank up the saturation of that water, don't you think so, guys? And then we're gonna throw in some ambience here. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm gonna crank up the saturation of this water. And we haven't even pixelated it yet, so let's go ahead and do that. There we go. Save it. And then we want to make sure we use a hue shift of a value like this. Desaturate just a tad, actually. Okay, let's take a look. Matches the sky. Very good. All right, let's get the grass working. I'm sorry. Let's do this. Yeah, let's go to our sound manager. And I'm going to go ahead and throw in the right sounds in our sound manager. If you missed this, wait. Yeah, if you missed this in previous, we talked all about this. There it is right there. So why isn't it working? Let's see if the ambience is working. It could be that there's no sound in the game for some reason. Let's double check. We're going to add in a forest ambience. Do I have forest? I do have. Whoa. Volume is super quiet, guys, and I am so sorry. It's really quiet on my end. I think I may have just blown your ears out. I'm so sorry. Let me double check. Dude, my headphones haven't been on this whole time. Guys, I'm so sorry. So this whole time you guys were hearing footsteps? Was it super loud? All right, let's go ahead and find a summer soundscape. I'm going to go to artlist.io. It wasn't that bad. Was it bad? Okay, good. Okay. I'm going to grab some sounds from artlist.io. I don't recommend you use artlist.io because their fees are ridiculous, and I had to pay them. We're going to do summer ambience field. This is great. And then we're going to find some music as well. I'm not going to make this loop, honestly. Sorry guys, I don't have time to make it loop for you guys. But I want some good sounds in here. This is Craig something. It's called Craig. There it is. All right, we can set it to 0.5. So right off the bat, look, this is how amazing the game feels with sound. Okay, good. Next up, music. This is where everything changes, okay? What I'm going to do is go to Epidemic. Hey, guys. You could hear footsteps when you started watching. Oh, my goodness. I hope it wasn't too loud. Let me log into Epidemic really quick, guys, and we're going to grab like a fancy fairy tale sound. I'm going to show you how to compress it down. Fantasy. I'm just going to type in Lord of the Rings and see if something comes up. Let's see if Zelda comes up. Close. Yeah, this will work. Okay, I want to show you guys how that, towards the end there, that feels really good. So what I'm going to do is actually just grab that part because I like that a lot. Give me just a sec here, guys. I got to set this output. The clock's ticking here. I got 13 minutes left. Playback device, Realtek. No. Crap. Playback device is... Stop it! I don't have time for this. Playback device. Yeah, no, that's it. We'll just use the whole thing. I mean, it's pretty good. It's not great, but it's fine. All right, let's go ahead and grab that. It's called Coco Begins His Journey. I'm going to throw that into the scene here. You want it to loop. You want it to be 2D. That's fine. All right, I'm going to set it to 0.5. And then you guys said you couldn't hear the ambience, so I'm going to set it to 1. Let's take a look here. And we'll do post-processing here in a sec. For some reason, the music isn't starting. I think that's the wrong one. I think it's Coco. There it is. Okay. Ready, guys? Good. Good. The music is great, actually. So let me show you how to crunchify things because the music doesn't match, right? So we can compress it. I did this a long time ago. Override sample rate. Yeah, we're going to do 11,000. Let's see. We need to do the same. Let's see if the music sounds good at that rate. Yep. Same as with the ambience. We're going to make sure we crunchify that. We're going to do opt override, and we're going to do, I'm going to do 8,000 for this one, just to see how it sounds. Could barely even hear it. We're going to need to crank up the volume for this. Yeah, no wonder. I don't like that sound. So, let's do Summer Forest ambience, maybe? I think one of you mentioned that in the chat. We need to crank up the contrast here as well on the entire scene. There we go. You want to hear birds. It feels really empty without the birds. Also, birds, when it's compressed down, it really hits the spot, the nostalgia spot. So that's the one we want. It's called Ambisonic. Okay, ready, guys? Let it import here. We'll crank up the contrast in just a sec. Optimize sample rate, override sample rate, good. 11,000, hit apply. Give me just a sec, we're gonna get this, there we go. Now, obviously, guys, if you want to add a filter to it, which I'll probably do for the final cut of this, a low-res filter, you could do that. This is kind of how it looks. I'm just scaling it up. So, I do love a good 4K, though. Okay, let's crank up the contrast. I'm gonna reduce the volume of the music, or the ambience. Increase the volume of the music. The grass footsteps is grass step. Where is it? Yeah, here it is. All of these need to be compressed down too, significantly. The player jump sound. There it is. I believe these are it. Yeah. Yep, these all need to be compressed down too, right? And then let's go ahead and crank up the contrast. This is what you could do, okay? I don't know if I like this. I don't know. There's something that the nostalgia is yanked out for me personally. But you can do this. For some reason, the brightness is super vibrant. Let me see here. Yeah, so what we could do, the reason that's so bright is we need to go into this right here and just darken it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Probably even make it a little bit more blue if we wanted to. So that is possible. I mean, it's possible, or that's okay to do. I just don't, something in me is like crying out for no post-processing. And I think it's because Twisted Tower is just heavily reliant on it, and I'm ashamed. Oh, we forgot these guys. Sorry, one sec. Oh, these are so important. Sorry, guys. These are crazy important. Don't let me forget to put these in. The post-processing I'm probably going to remove, but let me just do this really quick. This is so crucial. These big chunky pieces, you could do this. And it just creates a dynamic looking... See, oh my word. How did I forget this? Oh, the bloom does look good. I'm just trying to stay away from doing that. I don't know. Something about bloom bothers me lately. Okay, let's do this. That's fine. We'll do another one down here maybe. Really big. Totally fine to do. Just to create like a little... this helps it not look like it's terrain, honestly. It's not perfect by any means, but it helps it look like it's not terrain. You know, for how long has it been? 3 hours and 30 minutes. I feel like we've done a pretty good job. I love building these kind of worlds. It's so much fun. You could do this even. So it's barely sticking out. This, I'm actually going to just drop it down and try and match the terrain. I don't know why the terrain looks that way. I don't know why it's a little different, but it's fine. Let's do one. This needs to be rotated, actually. Let's do that. And then this one here, we're going to bring it over here. And just get another sort of edge here. Okay, let's feel this out, guys. You ready? So we'll get down here, and we'll try it out. me increase the sprint speed. That needs to be higher resolution. So it's the trim here. It's way too low res. There we go. Like I said, I like to have controls over the texturing. Ambient occlusion, I don't know if it's in there, but okay, I'm gonna crank up the fog here. So let's make it feel a little bit more expansive. 08, there we go. There we go. Okay. I'm going to increase the player's sprint speed so that we can run around a little bit faster. I really want to feel it out before I head out, guys. Sprint. Sprint. Walk speed, we're going to do 12. Sprint speed, we're going to do 20. Jump speed is going to be 35. There we go. Save it. And that should give us a nice feeling of exploring. I kind of love this game. Oh. Guys, do I need to make this? Now, here's the thing. Just so you know, what we can do is we could turn off the bloom, right? And we can still adjust the midtones and stuff. It's just the bloom does look kind of good. It kind of looks good. Did you guys learn a lot in this? Let's go full screen so that we can get the full vibes here. The final thing I'll probably do on Monday, I will probably throw a subtle low res pixelation filter. Very subtle. +1 for bloom. Next game, guys, what do you think? Imagine a sword. We need to increase the camera draw distance there, but yeah. By the way, it's always a good idea to go a little bit epic with a scene. Okay, so what you can do, I'm gonna bring that up here, and if I can, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do some kind of epic looking pillar here, kind of like Dark Soulsy, you know, where it's like, whoa, that thing is freaking huge, you know. And then you could do like 13 by 13, just so you have a sort of a cap here. The freaking flag. Where'd the flag go? I'm gonna do 15 or yeah, 15 by 15 by 15. My kids are about to burst into my office. I could sense it. I could feel it with every shell, every fiber of my being. Let's try and create like a... Oh, the freaking flag. Hang on. so close, guys. I just want to see this before they run into my office. So good. There we go. All right, let's hit play. They're coming in. No! That actually looks really good. There's so many good shots. Looking for the right thumbnail shot. That looks pretty. That's so close. Almost there. I'm in big trouble. I need to be going downstairs. That can be really big. So this right here can be like 20 by 20. Stop it. Yeah, there we go. And then this can be like 15 by 15. And then that can be... You want some kind of like weird... Yeah, that doesn't look horrible, right? Something about the end of December, I always end up wanting to make a medieval game. It's so weird. I think I get kind of burnt out by the winter. I don't know. That's kind of cool. Sorry, my son is screaming downstairs. Okay, let's hit play and take a look. It's Twisted Tower, that's right. Ah! Thomas, what are you doing? You're going to get in so much trouble. I need to get off work, guys. What am I doing? It's Twisted Tower. Plain Tower. Yeah! Looks good. All right. Guys, thanks for hanging out. I hope you had a blast. Did we learn something?